boys are going to bring the heat today.
As the leader of the Booner pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff, Booner, and Lucas. It is Wednesday, June 18th, the day of the dock. One of the greatest days of the week, man.
Wow.
One of the greatest days of the week. We'll get to talk to John Maakaron. Pete Prisco, Boone's favorite guy, came out with his NFL top 100 players from last season. Oh, this is Pete Prisco. Don't let him cook, Boone. Come on now. We already posted how
He
many
might be
Lions
getting brownie points from Boone. You never know. I didn't see it.
Maybe this is a rare Pete Prisco W. You never, that could.
We never. Pete Prisco will never get a W at the end of the day.
It could be.
Dug himself too deep into a hole, Boone.
Yeah, and you can always, in my opinion, like even with today's list, there are some things you could fix where it's like, what are we doing here, Pete? Are you watching football, Pete? I'm not saying Pete doesn't watch the game. Are you watching the game, Pete? There's a lot of games on. Let's not act like you watch every game.
I'm not saying he's not watching the game, but are you watching the game?
I'm out here. Listen, I'm out here for the people. I'm not one of these, no, I'm out here for the fan. For the fan, by the fan, as people say. I'm trying to hold people like Pete Prisco accountable. You can't have these lists if you didn't watch every NFL game this season. You can't. You can't. Am I wrong? You can't have an opinion on the top 100.
I don't know. I haven't seen the list.
I'm telling you, you can't though. I'm in general though. Like if you're going to do a top 100 list, you better have watched every Panay Sewell snap.
Yeah,
last one of them.
Yeah,
everyone.
That's got to be a qualification. You have to watch every Panay Sewell snap.
Yeah. How do you have an opinion if you missed half of his snaps?
Yeah. No,
but you watched a lot of Landon Dickerson snaps, but you didn't watch all Panay Sewell snaps. Come on now, Pete.
Yeah. We got to see.
Did I say the wrong name?
I'm trying to. That's definitely like a name. Like that's not a random name, Landon Dickerson. But it's not.
Did I pronounce his name wrong?
No,
who is Landon Dickerson? Am I
he plays.
He's like the best. Yeah, he's. You don't know the Eagles.
He played at Alabama. Big guy.
He's the Eagles' other tackle with Lane Johnson.
No, I don't believe it. I got to see it to believe it.
Bro, are you messing around? For a second, you made me think
the ball nowhere. Landon Dickerson.
Well, who's wearing the hat tonight? Come on now.
Hey, Boone earned it.
Now you got.
Is it the second year guy?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know.
He's a guard. He's a guard for the Eagles. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
A little brain gap there. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
No, all good, Klotzy.
Yeah, look at Malik, man. Len Dixon, one of the best left guards in the league for the Eagles. He is not a tackle. But we knew what he was though. I'm surprised, Klotzy. There's too many guys in the brain.
Is it I just don't know why the name's not. Is it the guy they groomed to play center?
No, that's Cam Jurgens.
Okay, maybe that's
Cam Jurgens has been getting groomed for a couple
I
years
probably will know. Hey,
Landon Dickerson, man. He's a big time. He's a big time. That's on me. I said tackle, big time guard. Jordan Mailata is the other tackle. That's that's on me.
Giovanni Manu.
Klotz kind of threw me off a little bit, to be fair.
I
man kind of did a Euro step around me, and I completely, my head was on a circus.
Shout out Manu Ginobili.
Hey, did you guys see PFF? They had the audacity to put this post out. What
is this? Oh, yeah. I posted on our Instagram, and people thought we made the graphic and was like, why would you guys make this?
Oh, come on. Really? They thought we did?
I mean, I credited PFF. It says PFF in the top left, and all the comments are, why would you guys put this? Why would you guys make this? Why are you guys asking this question?
Yeah, this is I want to be respectful because JT Olson in the chat, very, very loyal listener. He's a big Bucs fan.
Shout out JT, man.
This list, when you go across the board on it, I think there's two at most. And I think one of them, maybe you argue, but I would probably lean the other way. But if we're going just line them up, like top to bottom, you're taking Amon-Ra. I would probably go Godwin over Jameson as of right now.
Okay.
But then you're taking Laporta, you're taking Gibbs, and then I would probably go Bucky. I think the Lions, yeah. You have two guys like Jalen McMillan. I'm sorry. I think he's a fine wide receiver.
It's a good wide receiver.
But, I mean.
I think all this list is saying is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a deeper wide receiver room. And I think that's fair. I think that Amon-Ra is better than Mike Evans. I think the Lions have the better wide receiver one. But I think it's fair to say, like, the Buccaneers and the Bengals have the best wide receiver rooms in the NFL, in my opinion.
So my thoughts with this, too, is like Klotz is dead on. It's a great wide receiver room with Mike Evans, Godwin, and Ibuka.
Ibuka's going to be good. He's going to be really good.
The Lions obviously have the better weapons at the end of the day. I think the Lions, you could argue in the NFL in general, have the best weapons from top to bottom. Just talking about 1-2 wide receivers.
I agree with that.
They're probably number one at the end of the day. But like I saw some people kind of going at the Bucs a little bit, like they shouldn't even be in this cat. The Bucs probably have a top 5 weapons as well in the NFL. So like I get why they made this graphic and why they put it together. I just think the Lions have the best room of weapons in general on an offense out of anyone in the NFL. And I don't know if it's close. Like I can't think of another team in the NFL right now where you can put the top 2 wide receivers, tight end, and 2 running backs up against these guys. This 5 right here. This is the best 5 in the NFL, top to bottom.
Yeah, if you go wide receivers, tight end, running backs, I don't know what team has better.
No, I don't think there is a team.
Maybe like
Eagles,
healthy 49ers, and maybe the Eagles.
I don't even know them though, because like you have a right,
but
you have an RB2 though, like that David Montgomery.
Yeah, you got basically 2 RB1s.
At all.
You have 2 RB1s and 2 all-pro players and one of the most explosive players in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
So it's pretty.
I mean, really 3 all-pro players because you can argue this year Gibbs gets all-pro.
Yeah.
You
He's an all-pro player. So,
yeah. So you have 3 essentially.
And then Dave Montgomery can start on 30 teams. Not 30 teams, probably like 25.
Atlanta, by default, because of Kyle Pitts, is out of the conversation.
Yeah, but who's their wide receiver too? Darnell Mooney, he's good, Klotz. I know that, but
a 900-yard guy, Boone.
Yeah, Jamo's an 1,000-yard guy, so it's got him beat.
Fair. I take Jamo over Mooney.
I just know you love Darnell. You love yourself a little Darnell Mooney,
I love
which he's
Darnell
good.
Mooney. Great.
I respect him. I just didn't like the people online who were kind of discrediting what the Bucs have, because the Bucs room is that 5 there for the Bucs is. Jalen McMillan is your wide receiver 4. Oh my!
Don't forget Trey Palmer just sitting on the bench too. Well, I love Trey Palmer coming out of Nebraska. Like he's somebody that if he was another team, he could be a really good wide receiver 3. He was a good wide receiver 3 for them. But I think what they're doing with McMillan and with Ibuka is they're just saying, McMillan, you're going to play on the outside when Mike retires, and then Ibuka, you're going to be the wide receiver 1 in the slot when Chris Godwin goes out there.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Jalen McMillan and his talent today with his age and moving forward, or Tim Patrick?
We talking about in general or like for the Lions?
In general.
Go McMillan.
Okay. There's
like
another one. And he's a wide receiver 4.
He's a good blocker too. He's a good blocker.
He's a wide receiver 4 on that team.
Realistically, if he wasn't in Tampa Bay and he was in like Arizona, like if he was in Arizona with Marvin, he'd probably have 700-800 yards. Like he's good.
Yeah.
I think too. What
Washington? I mean,
we won't go back into that argument.
No, we don't need it. We don't need to do the Tim Patrick thing. That was a little too much yesterday. But I love him. I love Jalen McMillan. He's very good.
I see. I see. JT says the Bucs are also way deeper at wide receiver and running back. Who's the
not running back?
That's
insane,
wrong, man.
Yeah, that's you're just being a slappy at that point. Take the slappy goggles off and let's have a real conversation, JT.
Yeah, Bucky. I love Bucky.
Rashad's good, but he's not David Montgomery.
Who's their RB3?
Rashad. I don't know.
So that's what I'm saying. Like it's not like they got 3 RB.
They might have drafted one.
I think they did draft someone. Let me look to confirm.
Yeah, I don't know who they drafted. I need to know. But even
Rashad is good, but last year was tough for him.
Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker's nice.
Oh, I like Sean Tucker. I like Sean Tucker. I would say, but still, you take Jameer over Bucky right now, and then you would take David over Rashad White right now.
Yeah.
So it's like you're 2-0 right there anyway. So
I love that running back room too. It's a good running back room.
They got a better room. Matt, he said, "What's up, fellas? I'm back from recovering from the playoff loss last year."
Welcome back. We've been going for 5 months since every single day.
Yeah,
so
Matt,
welcome
it's nice
back.
to have you back, brother. Yeah, that is tough. Cartier says Khalif is an all-pro returner, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
I don't think you can add him in there though, because when it comes to actually wide receiver 4, Jalen McMillan, if you want to put your best five weapons on the field, you're probably not throwing Khalif in that top 5.
Wheezy says no Godwin over JMO. Godwin had like 2 torn ACLs. Yeah, but Godwin last year.
JMO's got 1 already.
Dude, by the way, Chris Godwin, very underrated. I think Mike Evans, too. I don't know if you guys watched Allen Robinson on the heavies. You guys know what my take's been on Mike Evans for a while now. He said Mike Evans is in his Mount Rushmore of wide receivers all time.
Who?
Allen Robinson. He said if he gets 1,000 this year, 12 straight years of 1,000, like that's just, you can't compete with that. Like no one's ever done it. No one's ever done, I don't think, 11. I think Mike, and you guys know you guys know where I stand on this. I think Mike Evans is the most underrated like star receiver in the NFL. Almost history.
Yeah, he
is. He just does not get respect.
I don't even know why. I think he gets respect, but like when you look at his resume, it's insane. Like it doesn't get enough. It's almost like how Andre Johnson was, but Andre Johnson or Mike Evans won. Andre Johnson didn't.
He just doesn't get talked about as like one of the greatest there is. And it's like at the end of the day, the number, you watch his game and you're like, oh, this guy's legit. And then you look at the stats, you're like, this guy's been doing this for 11 years straight without one hiccup or injury. It's like he should be talked about as like a top 10 wide receiver all time. He should be.
Yeah. Fair.
And then it's like no one, that's where I think the respect factor comes into play. It's like every year everyone's like, Devontae, this guy. It's like, why is it no one can talk about Mike Evans ever?
That is crazy. He's never had under 1,000. I mean, you got to respect.
That's like
he's never hurt. I mean, he hasn't been hurt. Like, yeah, he's played a majority of the season every year. Yeah, he plays through injury. So that's how you.
I would put him in my top 10 all time, man. That's crazy, and he's actually really fun to watch.
On the show for a couple of weeks.
I'm sure we can get him. We could just I'll text easy.
He's hard to contact. He doesn't have DMs aren't open. Doesn't have any
make a text right now.
So I think you probably got to do it through Instagram. But I've been trying to get him on for a while because he's doing more media now. Like he's not on a team right now, so he's doing more like podcasting. Mm-hmm. He'd be a really good guest, honestly. Obviously for the Lions, but just talk some football. He's a good guest to have. Hey, AG's Burner says Evans top 10 is crazy. He has a Super Bowl too. He's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he got Super Bowl. He got playoff wins.
That's exactly like those comments is what I'm talking about. Like underrated. It's like people think it's crazy to have that conversation when in all reality, like it's really not. He's like top 8, I think, in touchdowns of wide receivers all time.
And think about before he had Brady, he had guys like Mike Glennon, Jameis Winston, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like before he was getting those Super Bowls and he had those 1,000 yards, like he was battling adversity with that quarterback spot. Not to mention before Godwin, who was their wide receiver too. Like the only person you had to worry about besides Mike Evans that I can remember for Tampa Bay was probably Doug Martin. And yeah, that's about it. Doug Martin. Like it's been the Mike Evans show for Tampa Bay for the last decade, and he still continues to produce.
And like looking at the touchdown leaders all time receiving touchdown leaders, Mike Evans and Devontae Smith were drafted the same year. They've played the same amount of seasons. It's 2014.
Devontae Smith?
Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams. Mike Evans, 105 touchdowns. Devontae Adams, 103. Both came out in 2014. So he has more all-time. He's 9th all-time. Devontae Adams is 10th all-time. Mike Evans probably ends his career 6th or 7th all-time in receiving touchdowns. And I don't even know what I haven't looked at the yards.
And the yards are going to be there because he's.
Yeah, and just that in general, looking at like top 6, 7 all-time in touchdowns, the consistency to be able to do that is just, it's incredible. Like he's up there with guys like Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, Marvin Harrison, Larry Fitzgerald, Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, and then Mike Evans. It's like, whoa, let's put a little respect on the guys.
Like Klotz, you brought up the quarterback play.
Yeah.
He's only gotten it recently. You know what I mean? So he hasn't really had great quarterback play while he's been there. So it's even more impressive, honestly. Let's get to this Pete Prisco list. So Lions players that made the list. I'll show that so we can look at all the Lions players where they're ranked, and then we'll kind of go through. We're not going to go through all 100, but just I'll go through the top part of the list. We'll see kind of where guys are ranked, and if there's anyone, Boone, like the Panay one, we'll visit and stuff like that. But here are the Lions players that made the list. Let me get this out the way. So Aiden Hutchinson is ranked the highest. He's 15th on this list. Top 100 players from last year. Lions had 8 total players make the list. Majority of on offense. But you look at the list, 15, Aiden Hutchinson, 21, Penei Sewell, 32, Jahmyr Gibbs, 58, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 60, Kirby Joseph, 65, Brian Branch, 77, Jared Goff, and 86, Sam Laporta. So top 100 players, Lions got 8 of them.
Which is a lot, I feel like. That's good.
No, it is a lot. That's really good. So Aiden, I got to see where I got to see, because Aiden's 15. I got to see it because obviously quarterbacks will be ranked. So I have to see. The Panay one seems a little too low in my opinion. I mean, 21. I got to look at this list, but that's the players that made the list. I'm trying to think I don't think they missed anyone.
I don't think so.
No, I think that's probably the only guys that would make the list.
Yeah, I agree. When I was actually going through it, that was kind of my thought process on it. And I was like, all right, who did they miss? And then, I mean, you could argue, the only person I think that would be on it next year is Jamison Williams. That's the only name I could think of.
Jack Campbell?
Oh, Jack Campbell. I'm sorry. Yes, and Jack. Yeah, those two are probably the two. I guess I want to see the linebackers on here, but I would say those are the two that make the list.
Yeah, I'm sure there's honestly not season. That like off-ball linebackers. There's probably like Fred Warner, Roquan, a couple other, maybe Quincy.
Probably
Williams,
not too many of them made it too, so they have to only pick a couple linebackers. Let's see this full list. We'll start from the top, and we'll just kind of go, and we'll skim through it and go to where the Lions guys are ranked. But number one on this list, to no one's surprise, let me get this out the way. There's a big, thanks Pete, big ad in my way. All right, this is CBS Sports. Number one, no one's surprised, Pat Mahomes. He's on this list. Myles Garrett. So okay, I knew this would happen. Top of the list. So yeah, a lot of these like Saquon, Justin Jefferson, these are going to be the guys that are ranked at the top. Jamar Chase. Okay, why are we doing that? Get this ad out of the way. Thank you.
Skip that ad. There we go.
So the first one will be 15, Aiden Hutchinson.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say this. He's the second edge rusher, I believe, or maybe third.
Yeah,
I think TJ. Micah
Myles
fourth.
Garrett, Micah, TJ Watt.
So he's fourth.
Yeah, which honestly, I don't really hate the 15.
I don't actually.
Yeah, because these guys in front of him are pretty.
I think the top 15 is already big time. I think if you're a top 15 player in the NFL, that's huge. I would think at the end of the season, in my opinion, he passes Micah up. And then he's up there with TJ and Myles Garrett. That's my thought process. But I think the fact that he's in that realm, that atmosphere. Do you guys remember last year when we talked about edges? We were like, there's a tier of these guys, and then Hutch in that second. I think it's safe to say I would put Hutch in that top tier now, personally. After seeing what he did through that stretch of games, get the injury and all of that. He's top 15 on this list with those guys.
I don't see how you look at Josh Allen and Brian Burns and say those guys are in the same tier as Aiden Hutchinson. I think the one tricky player that is like, but is he in front of this guy? And obviously we're going to take him, but is Trey Hendrickson. So it depends on how people view Trey Hendrickson, but I view Hutch better than Trey Hendrickson. I know Hendrickson's put back-to-back 17.5 sack seasons. When you're talking about truly, when you're watching these two players play football, Aiden Hutchinson is in that tier of the best in the NFL. And I don't think you could have said that until going into last year. But that stretch that Aiden Hutchinson put together and the fact that he's coming back from a broken bones, right, and not a torn ligament, like I think it's safe to say Aiden Hutchinson is like locked to be an all-pro as long as he stays healthy. But he's surpassed, in my opinion, Trey
Hey.
Henderson just off what I saw last year.
Klotz, I'll give you credit there because last year you were the one that was saying he's in that tier with Josh Allen and those guys.
Yeah, and I think going into last year he was, but
and I think he's
anymore.
proven it. Even though he got hurt, I think the sample size you saw, you're like, hey, this dude's legit. There's no question.
Well, the next Lions player on here, it'd be 21. So just to give you guys, so Chris Jones, Fred Warner, Tristan Wirfs is ranked ahead of him, and that would be Penei Sewell at 21.
Yeah, this one I have an issue with.
But here's the thing. This is what makes me upset. 17 last year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he actually dropped. But it says he is in the conversation for the best right tackle in the league. But if we're talking about players, I mean, yeah, this list, it's like different positions, but you have Creed Humphrey, 16? Like, he should be way higher, in my opinion. Like, and I love Creed Humphrey, but Penei, not just a tackle, but as a player, he's got to be top 15. I mean, he's got to be right there with Hutch, in my opinion. They're like right up there together.
The craziest thing about it, you like on our screen right now, them putting Penei Sewell, and I think Brock Bowers is a great tight end, one of the best in the NFL. Yeah. But the fact that Brock Bowers and Penei Sewell are side by side in a top 100 standings or graphic is ridiculous in its own. Like the fact you have Penei Sewell, who arguably is the best offensive lineman in the NFL, you have him as the 4th best tackle in the NFL on this list. You have him behind Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, and Tristan Wirfs, which, okay, if there's an argument, maybe, but like Jordan Mailata, Penei Sewell is better than him. What are we talking about here? And this is exactly what I was talking about with Pete Prisco. It's like, Pete, you have hated on the Lions for years. And it's like, I could go back and get receipts unless you want to go call CBS and have them take them down. But I have receipts showing that he hates on the Detroit Lions. He just doesn't watch Lions games at this point. This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. It's like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to make these lists if you don't actually watch the Detroit Lions. Because there's zero way, if you watch this Lions team and you pay any attention, that Penei Sewell is the 4th best tackle in the NFL. Zero chance. There's not one bit in my brain that's like, oh, yeah, that's fair. No. This is a top 10 player in the NFL. He legit, he should be in the top. He should be like 10, 11, maybe even and higher. I could argue higher. And I bet you when the ESPN one comes out, they have him top 15.
Yeah, he should be hired. He shouldn't be. He's not a top 21 player. He's probably a top 15 player. I think he's right. He's in front of Hutch, but he's in that range, I think, with Mailata, with those guys. So you look at Penei, man, he's one of the most dominant players at his position. I mean, he's right behind Tristan Wirfs. Like, here we go again with that. Like, I love Tristan Wirfs, but I just think Penei is just better. But again, you're talking about two guys that are in the same tier as tackles. Going back to the tier thing, they are in the same tier. That he's in that top tackle tier. Like, I think Jordan Mailata's in there. He's elite. Penei Sewell, Lane Johnson, Tristan Wirfs, like he's in that. Just 21 feels a little too low, honestly. The next player they have is that would be 32, and that is Jahmyr Gibbs, which is pretty good.
Too low. No.
Too low?
Too low.
You think so?
I think he's better at his position at this point. I think he's a better playmaker than Tyree. Keep scrolling. I'll tell you when I think it should be like, okay. So
AJ
better than
31.
AJ. Take him over AJ as far as a weapon, whatever, over Tyreek. Dexter Lawrence is also too low, but okay, keep moving. All right, fair.
Max Crosby.
Stop there. Keep going to the next offensive player. I'm just curious.
I just think I get what you're saying.
Take him over CD.
Yeah.
George Kittle.
Yeah.
George is the best tight end in the game last year.
And Brock
but
Bowers.
I think that's what he's the third running back, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the fact that maybe if you want to argue where he's at, but he's behind Saquon and Derrick Henry. Like, you can't. they look like Pete's looking at him as a top 3 running back in the NFL, which I think is what everyone's kind of asking.
Whoa, Boone, he's defending Pete.
I just think it's finally well, in my opinion, it's just we've been asking for the respect with Jahmyr Gibbs. Hey, he's a top 3 guy. Stop putting Bijan ahead of him. Stop putting some of these random guys like Kyron Williams ahead of him. It's Jahmyr Gibbs is in that category with Derrick Henry and Saquon. Like, there's no question about it anymore. So I just like the fact that Pete and in my opinion, Klotz, I see what you're saying. Like, you can go ahead, Tyreek. I agree with you on that. But like, if you're moving some of these guys up, like, all right, who are you moving back? Like, all right, if you want to move Tyreek back and flop those spots, okay, I can deal with that. But in front of that, like, George Kittle's the best tight end in the NFL. You got to get those guys in there before you start getting RB3 in.
I understand why Klotzy, I just right now at this point, I got to give the edge to Derrick Henry right now. I just do.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
I won't fight you on that too much, but
like I think Saquon,
he had a huge year, dude.
I got to give the edge right now to Derrick Henry.
All
After
I'm
that,
saying
you
is
can argue anything.
Imagine this. Imagine trying to stop Lamar and Jahmyr.
It'd be insane. It would be insane.
Both are insane, but Jahmyr would be a 2,000-yard back now. That's a 2,000-yard back.
Well, okay, wait a sec.
They're different. They're different.
2,000-yard back.
Derrick Henry's a 2,000-yard back. He had 1,900 plus last year.
Yeah, they're different.
But was he 2,000, Boone?
1,900. He's hit. Guess what? He's hit 2,000 and Jahmyr hasn't yet.
Yeah.
To be fair, Boone.
He had 16 touchdowns last year. He had 1,916 touchdowns.
How many Jahmyr have split in the backfield? How many have?
But Derrick Henry
led the NFL.
But Klotz, you got to look at too. Derrick Henry
rushing. I'm talking about
ton of carries, so many carries, and he just
Klotz
battles through it.
Klotz has always hit on Derrick Henry, man.
Jahmyr.
Klotz told me last summer Derrick Henry was washed, and I kept saying King Henry, King Henry. Jeff, I know you remember me just constantly saying King Henry in the group chat, and guess what he did? He ran for 1,900 yards and 16 touchdowns, and what did I say? King Henry, and you go. He's on the other half. He's on the down slope of his career. He's too old. He's going to have another 19. No, you didn't. For years, you've been telling me Derrick Henry's washed.
Well, if he stayed in Tennessee, I would have stayed consistent with that. I said him and Lamar Jackson will lead the NFL in rushing yards, and Derrick Henry will be an Offensive Player of the Year candidate. I know for a fact I did. I wanted to draft Derrick Henry in fantasy so bad.
This guy's had 6 out of his last 7 seasons over 1,000 yards. The one he doesn't, 900 yards. He played Jeff. He played 6 games, or 8 games. Sorry, 8 games, and had 900 yards.
That's crazy.
And gets hurt, so he would have 7 straight years over 1,000. I just hate the Derrick Henry disrespect. I think it might have been maybe it was 2 off seasons ago. You were trying to give me all of this blah blah blah. I just remember.
I did not say he was gonna be bad.
I remember you used to hate on Derrick Henry, and I used to have to just say King Henry. I used to send you the crown emojis.
Well, Trent Williams is 34. I just noticed that, so he's actually kind of he's low on this list.
Can I do something real quick, Jeff, with this next player that we have on the list for the Lions? Can you just scroll to 58? Because I want to prove a point here real quick, and I want to ask you guys a question. And don't look at the list. I don't know if you guys already did your things, but obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown is the 58th best player on this list. Can I ask you guys this serious question? And you will be held accountable because we will do our top 10 wide receivers, or we already have in the last couple months, and I will go back and check. Where did you have Amon-Ra St. Brown land on that list?
So are you asking
top 10 wide receiver list? Because I think we all had him in the similar spot.
I'll make it easier. I'll do a top 5 because he's in my top 5. I'll just do.
Okay, so you have him top 5. That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
Last year I had him, I want to say, at 6 behind AJ Brown, and I've been saying because of last year when you saw Philly's passing attack falling off, I just think Amon-Ra is so consistent. It's easier to get the ball to, so give me Amon-Ra.
So you have him top 5?
He's top 5. Yeah, he's probably 4 or 5. Depending on the day.
I just want to put this out there. Amon-Ra St. Brown on this list, boys. 8th. He is the 8th wide receiver listed on this top 100 list.
See, that is disrespectful.
Yeah.
Back to back.
Disrespectful.
All pro. First team. All pro.
Well, they have just to kind of skim through it. I already saw some of the other wide receivers.
45.
But like Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas are already ahead of him. Like
I can't do it. I know, Klotz, you like Malik, and you guys.
Oh yeah, I love Malik too.
I love. Malik,
you need to see it more
right now. He's better.
And Brian Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, you have those two I disagree with, and then you go even higher, and then you get into the other weapons like AJ Brown. I think he's
Tyreek and CD.
Yeah, I would probably, if I had to give you my top 5, it'd probably go Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I would probably go number 3, Puka Nacua, CD Lamb, and then Amon-Ra. That'd be my 5. AJ Brown, I wouldn't put over.
AJ Brown, you're muted, Boone. I'd go 1. I'm going Jamar Chase.
Am I forgetting anybody? I don't think
no.
So.
1, I'm going Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, 1A, 1B. Not gonna fight you over that. 3, I'm going Puka Nacua. 4, I would probably. That's when you battle CD Lamb, Amon-Ra. I'm gonna go Amon-Ra, then CD at 5, AJ Brown at 6. Yeah. Well, no, I'm gonna go actually Malik Neighbors after Amon-Ra as of right now. Put it Malik Neighbors, then AJ Brown. So, Amon-Ra's top 5 though.
Yeah, I agree. He's top 5. 8's kind of crazy. I mean, he's an all-pro wide receiver. Look at his hands, man.
I just think it'll always be one of those things where when you watch Brian Thomas, a lot of the times when you're like, oh, what did Brian Thomas do this year? You're watching a 70-yard bomb. When you turn on Malik Neighbors, 60-yard bomb, and he's going up and over guys, routing them up on the outside. With Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's just first down, 7-yard gain, 2-yard gain, first down, 30-yard touchdown, where he just wears a defense down. I mean, we're talking about Floyd Mayweather. That's what Amon-Ra is as far as a wide receiver. Like, he just wears you down. He just hits you with little punches throughout the game, and there's finally that one moment where he takes over and finishes the fight. And I think there's those other guys where they're heavyweight hitters where you just watch them and you're like, these guys are just fun to watch. But when you watch Amon-Ra, he's one of the more technical, fluid wide receivers in the game. I think there's a lot of wide receivers that have been like that through the NFL. I don't think he's the downfield threat of Steve Smith. When you watch how Steve Smith played, as far as he was just very technical, physical wide receiver, Amon-Ra has that same mentality, and that's what makes him so good and consistent.
What about your top 5, Boone?
I would like to withhold mine until we do a top 5 rankings or top 10 rankings. I want it to be a surprise.
We'll do a top 10 because I got more names.
I mean, as we get closer to the season. Yeah, but I think we're doing offenses tomorrow. We're not pushing off my offenses any longer.
Fair.
I had that like a month ago, and it keeps getting pushed back because we keep coming up with new ideas. But that'll probably be a part. We'll probably do some rankings when it comes down to getting closer to the season. Anyways, we'll start doing quarterback rankings, wide receiver, running backs, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? So,
well, last season he was number 39. You know, I guess the yards they would have to factor in. I don't know.
He dropped being first team All Pro. You know, that's Pete Prisco for you. I'll tell you what. That's a guy that probably gets paid $300,000 to write articles for a living. Has no clue what he's doing.
Kirby's at 60, so 2 spots behind him.
Second safety, I believe.
Which is
I don't mind Kirby's spot for real.
Yeah, he's only behind, I believe, if I'm seeing it right, I think he's only behind Kyle Hamilton, who's 36, which I like.
This is where we're going to get in a battle. All right, Kirby, Xavier McKinney.
Yep, I'm with you.
And Brian Branch.
I'm with you.
I don't know if you're taking Brian Branch over Xavier McKinney, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
If you're going off last year though, McKinney had his career year.
Yeah, he had
always like when he was in New York, like there was never a year where it's like, oh, Xavier McKinney, what the hell is he doing? Like he was the leader of that defense with Dexter Lawrence. So
he's a more complete safety than Xavier McKinney, in my opinion.
I think they're the same. They are literally the same player. Like they both went to Bama. They are like copy and clone. But Brian Branch, I just think is way better early and just has signs of being better. But Xavier McKinney, like he's good against the run. They're the same.
I mean, he had 8 picks. He's second in the league in interception. So I get that. I would take Brian, but it's literally like a couple spot difference. I'm not gonna. It's 4 spots. I think next year it'll be a little different. Probably be less of a conversation. And then now there is a kind of not a drop off, but you go 10 spots. and you go all the way to 77, which was where Goff is at.
I have a problem with this one, and I don't know if you guys agree or not. Jared Goff is 77.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield is 57.
Okay, that is kind of nuts when you put it like that.
I don't think I'm taking personally, and again, this might be biased because we are in Detroit here. I'm taking Jared Goff over Baker Mayfield. I mean, we're talking about a guy.
That's like a hot take either.
We're talking about a guy who was in the MVP conversation, which Baker wasn't. I think, and you guys know how I feel about Baker. I love Baker. I think as a crew here, we've been Baker guys. Like we're like, hey, we love what Baker's done in Tampa. I thought the Browns did him dirty. I'm pumped up. He has another second kind of chance at his career in Tampa. Jared Goff goes above Baker Mayfield 100 times out of 100 times. But the fact that Pete Prisco has this guy 20 spots below Baker is absurd. Like, absolutely absurd. This is where it's like, dude, what is this guy smoking? I'll keep saying Pete Prisco getting paid $350,000 a year to just throw together and click a randomizer for a rankings is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Should be embarrassed.
He should be higher. I mean, the guy came off a career year, and he's still 20 spots lower than Baker. I mean, he almost had 40 passing TDs. I mean, and I know Baker did as well, but like Goff did it. He's been doing it. I mean, he had 30 plus the year prior. So it's not like last year. I mean, last year they put him a spot back from the prior year, and he had a better year.
He had an MVP caliber season. He was top
76,
5.
and this year he's 77, and he had a better year.
Yeah.
So
if it puts it into perspective, like Patrick Mahomes probably had one of the worst years of his career. I know they went to the Super Bowl. Regular season wise, like he was nowhere near MVP. Was Mahomes even a finalist? I don't
MVP
think he
this
was.
year, no.
I don't think he was. He has Patrick Mahomes number 1.
I think with all due respect.
Yeah, but it's still like Josh Allen just won
arguments.
MVP, and you're ranking this based on going into this year based off of what players did last year, correct? Why would Lamar or Josh Allen not be ahead of Patrick Mahomes? The two back-to-back, both of those guys have won MVP the last 2 seasons.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I just put a poll in the chat. Who are you taking? Jared Goff or Baker?
I'm going to vote right now.
You can go vote.
JT Olsen
Cast my
opening
vote.
up all of his burners currently. It's gonna fun.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, you guys can vote. It's pretty close right now. It's going back and forth. So everyone in the chat vote because I want a complete vote. I want everyone
to be fair. Goff is the 7th best quarterback on this list, I believe.
Which
which I'm
not mad at. But Baker 20. What is Baker? What is he? The next closest? Would he be 6th?
57th? He's
what about
20 away. The next quarterback from Baker.
He might be. What is he? 6th or what would?
He's
Baker?
6th, yeah. And then
Baker 6th.
I mean, they have Justin Herbert at 49 and Baker at 57.
Yeah, that's just not.
And then there's no quarterbacks until the top 10, and then you have Burrow, Lamar, Allen, and Mahomes. At least that's what I predict on. I could have missed someone, but
like even Lion King, Baker extends plays. Like I understand that, but like
All right,
guys,
but
like,
let's.
I think
stop.
Baker's good.
But... Baker is good, and Baker can extend plays, but there's a reason that Baker has played on 4 teams. I believe you have Browns, Panthers, Rams, Bucs. You have 4 teams, and not just stayed in one. It's because he can extend plays, but those extended plays do not always end in good decisions. Now, last year that they did. Baker was balling, playing like an MVP type of level, and I think he's going to be very good at this year. But Baker Mayfield, at the end of the day, is Baker Mayfield, and we know what that is. A very good quarterback, but he's not some dual threat. He's got some mobility, but I would even argue that a guy like Joe Burrow or CJ Stroud have the same mobility, if not more.
I mean, I know Baker had a career year, but he had a very good year, like 41 TD. I don't want to discount that.
Yeah,
I mean, he did that and wasn't even a MVP finalist though. So
yeah, he had 41 TDs, 16 picks. The year prior, 28 TDs, 10 picks, but then he had 3 years of just being basically either a backup or a short-time starter. Like, when do we start kind of factoring in a little bit of resume, despite level of play. Like, even if it's a high level of play, Jared's had multiple seasons. He had 30 and 30 passing TDs back-to-back years. Like, come on, I mean, what are we doing? Again, I'm not mad about the rate. 7 is about right. I just think Baker's a little too high, but whatever. It's fine. The next player on this list would be, you'd go all the way to 86, and that would be Sam Laporta. There's Roquan, by the way. Roquan, Bobby Wagner. I don't know if you we'll get to that Jack thing in a second, but Sam Laporta, I think that's based on the year he had last year because he was 58. So they're basing it off the numbers being down. He was banged up. Like, I think he's probably a top 60 guy usually because he
was 58th last year.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Yard guy, top 60 guy. I agree.
Yeah, and then but then you look at Roquan, Bobby. Any other linebackers on here?
Was that the first linebacker on the list, Roquan?
No, Fred Warner.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
So, but yeah, I mean, Bobby. Yeah, Bobby
had a really good year.
Yeah, he did
for his age too, man. That guy, he balled out.
I don't really hate it, but yeah, you see how they're doing linebackers though. Like, they're all at 87, 88. Like, Jack's probably outside of that. You know,
yeah,
he'll probably be on that list next year.
Do you guys like where Laporta was? 86. Do you think it has him as the fourth best tight end on this list?
I think it's completely. I'm honestly wouldn't have even been surprised if he was off this list and would have been one of the guys just outside of it. I think it's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's ahead of Travis Kelce.
Which, that's even crazier. Yeah, Travis Kelce.
Yeah. I think Travis Kelce has
the fact that
a season. You know who I heard saying that the other day?
25 pounds, dude.
I don't know, but I think I saw it with your guy, Klotz, Louis Riddick, being like, I think people need to look into Travis Kelce because he's an all-time great. And the guys typically like that who get the hate that he did for how bad he was usually come back the next year and they're like on a different level. I think Travis Kelce's like going to be ready to go.
I hope not. I don't want the Chiefs to win.
Me either, but
I'll openly pray on the Chiefs downfall.
He's one of the greatest to ever do it, or if not the greatest.
Well, Derek just put this. Baker's 2-3 in playoffs.
Ohio guy, Boone.
Golf is 5-5. Well, Golf also has NFC.
I would love Travis Kelce on the show.
Golf's got 2 NFC Championship appearances and a Super Bowl, so it's probably. By the way, the poll in the chat, 81% chose Golf, 19 chose Baker. So, which I get, Lions fans, but still, there was people in the chat that were saying Bakers. I wanted to put the poll up to see it. Now it was an absolute blowout. So,
my thing is with Baker too. If you're gonna argue like just last season, that's fine. I'll give it to you, and I won't like it. We can just agree to disagree. But like even when he was in Cleveland, the man had Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, one of a top 3 offensive line in football, Nick Chubb in his prime, Myles Garrett on the defensive side of the ball. And it amounted to a playoff win over the Pittsburgh Steelers, who that was when Big Ben was on his last leg. And the defense was still good. Like, it's still a good playoff win. Don't get me wrong. And that's it. That was his
to be fair.
Number 1 overall pick in Cleveland, was taken to rebuild that franchise. And I understand that Goff's in his prime, but Goff, even in LA, was number 1 overall pick. The St. Louis Rams were terrible. They were so bad they had to relocate. And they were drafted, and you saw what both of them did when they were surrounded with talent. Now, I will say that Sean McVay is a better head coach than the guys that Baker originally started off with. Even Stefanski, like, he's miles above Stefanski. It's not even close. But at the end of the day, like, Baker was so inconsistent there still, and he was surrounded by great talent.
Hey, before we get the doc on, let me tell you about our friends over at Comer and Cross.
Let us
know.
Come
on now. All right. You guys know Comer and Cross. They've been a sponsor of the show. Very, very good at what they do. And they can help you out as well. So let me tell you about them. All right. Comer and Cross, 1-day installation concrete floor coatings. And I know a lot of you people in the chat are homeowners, and you're probably sick and tired of staring at your cracked, stained garage floor. So right now, during Comer & Cross's summer installation sale, they're offering you 12 months, same as cash, or $500 in savings. Why put off getting your new Comer & Cross concrete floor with 12 months, same as cash, or $500 off? You can call the number 248-834-3488. They transform patios, pool decks, basements, even driveways, and guess what? They'll move the stuff out for you. They'll repair your cracks and pits before applying your stunning new floor, guaranteed. Comer & Cross concrete floors never chip, crack, or peel like epoxy or paint. So again, call the number 248-834-3488. That's 248-834-3488. Or book your free estimate at comercross.com and tell them your friends over at Crunch Time sent you. Now, let's get to the doc, because the doc is patiently waiting. So let's welcome in the publisher of Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated. Oh, very good friend of the show. Very good at what he does. A podcast legend. Oh, as many would refer to him. Oh, Mr. John Maakaron. John, how are we doing?
The doc.
It's a beautiful Wednesday. I didn't blow away in the storm. Hopefully everybody's surviving. What's going on? I was recording a podcast in Sterling Heights, and I might release it. And all of a sudden, I have two phones and two alarms start going off. It was wild for about 10 minutes, and we had to restart it. It was crazy. First time ever recording a podcast, dang near tornado. And then there's some Facebook post about 13 Mile and Groesbeck. Got a little twister action. So hopefully everybody's safe, having a good time. And drink up, ask away. Let's have a good chat, boys. What's going on? What are we talking about?
Well, Doc, I would love to start us off here. By the way, the tornado stuff, apparently it's going to hit us again. There's already a thunderstorm coming, so hopefully none of the internet goes out. But, Doc, before it goes out, let me ask you, Brad Holmes. We got to hear from him. All right. He joined the Green Light Pod with Chris Long and had some very interesting things to say, which I know you covered, we covered, and he spoke on a lot of the things that Lions fans have been talking about, one of them being basically the edge position. And I want to get your thoughts on what he said about the D-line. I know people can read your thoughts, but when you hear Brad Holmes kind of not acknowledge the Zadarius Smith question, which I know we kind of talked about it. We don't think it's as big of a deal as maybe others think. But what do you think of Brad's response to the D-line and how he kind of talked about the importance of the guys in the middle and how he's kind of confident with what they got?
Yeah, no doubt. And I was at the Tigers game yesterday enjoying the Javi Baez resurgence. And then I found out he was on another podcast. I messaged Christian. I said, please don't tell me this was just released. He's like, yeah, a half hour ago they released it. I'm like, my goodness, 2 podcasts in the same week. But this one was more with Field Yates, and ESPN was more about his story, which we kind of know about, but you get a little bit more detail. So a lot of Brad Holmes this week. And yeah, I think the comment that, and it was a great question by Chris Long. And he was like, all right, tell me a little bit about your, defensive end position. And Brad Holmes, and look, guys, I think it's pretty fair. It's pretty safe to assume it's a negotiating thing where you're not going to really puff up a guy that's not on your roster at the expense of guys that are on your roster. He knows that if he mentions it, the agent's going to be like, oh, so you really like Zadarius, huh? That's another $250,000. That's another, a couple million per sack in the total contract. So I thought that, and also too, guys, pay attention to what he said with Field Yates and what his history is. He came up as a journalism PR guy. So he's trying to spin things positive regarding his defensive line. Wouldn't it be great though, if he just came out and said, maybe I think some of the fans are right. Maybe I made a mistake with Marcus Davenport. Maybe I overspent. Maybe I made a mistake with how I built this defensive line. You think he would ever come out and ever say that publicly? So he talked about the strengths of the team, but I thought the best nugget was that he values the interior of the defensive line, maybe even more than the edges, that's where you stuff the run. That's where you can get pressure up the middle. That's where you can open things up potentially with certain blocking schemes that the defensive ends can shine and eat more. So it was a great talk. I valued it very much, but it doesn't mean that the doors close on Zadarius Smith. But I do think the desperation, it feels like from the fan base, grows every single day. It's good. I think you should want the Lions to be active in their roster decisions when you see the Ravens pick up Jair Alexander for cheap, and the Lions have a clear need still, I think, at defensive end, and they could go out quickly and sign Zadarius Smith. But again, we've talked about it. Zadarius is chilling out, having a good time, waiting for the best situation for him. So Brad Holmes, look, there still is a lot to like about the defensive ends and the defensive line. A lot of pressures, still room to grow. I think Levi Onwuzurike on a prove-it deal will showcase his best brand of football to try and get a new deal. There's still some destructive force in that defensive line, and I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to get untapped this year with Casey Rogers. That defensive line is going to try to hurt some people. They always say they portray themselves as being violent and nasty. Hopefully this year they're a little bit more in terms of finishing and hitting the quarterback. Definitely good at getting pressures and disrupting the quarterback. Now it's time for that one last piece. Sack the darn quarterback.
Yeah, Doc, I just want to stick with the Green Light podcast that Brad was on with Chris Long. One thing I took away from it, and I'm sure you heard it, and I don't know I want to get your thoughts on what you felt about it, but we've heard a lot about these coordinators from Dan and a lot of different people. It felt like it was the first time we really heard about the confidence level of Johnny Morton and Kelvin Shepard from Brad Holmes. And if I'm being honest with you, it felt like out of all the people who spoke about the transition from, the new OC, new DC, it gave me a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, Doc, but it gave me a little bit like, okay, I trust this a little bit more. Maybe it's because Brad's so good at talking to the public. That's why he's the GM. What did you take away from that? Because he broke it down very well with John Morton kind of being here. Obviously, we all knew this with Jared. But just the fact that he broke down how they're going to stay the same, and then Calvin Shepard, how they've essentially just been grooming him since 2022 or whenever that was to be the DC. Did you take anything more away from that, or is it kind of just the same thing? Am I crazy for hearing that and being a little bit more confident?
So I got a question, Booner. When Brad Holmes talks, do you pull up the computer real close and just listen to every word and be like, "Oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever," and just get all excited and get all?
I break it down, Doc. I listen closely.
Good. No, that's good. No,
they seem confident. I mean, we're getting confirmation from everyone in the building. Sometimes, even if there's bad people, I know they're supposed to be solid, but you've been in the room. They're pretty honest all the time. Hey, we're still working on this. We're still trying to figure this out. There's been none of that with these guys. We've heard that with players, with coaches. They fired coaches. Yeah. This has been like a seamless transition, and a lot of people are saying that it's not going to be.
But remember, too, that Dan Campbell was pretty complimentary and valued what Anthony Lynn brought to the table, but yanked the play calling duties, which was the signal he was not happy. So remember, when you hear these guys speak on a podcast, they definitely want to spin it in a positive way. He's not going to say, "Oh, I have concerns that John Morton is going to call too many pass plays or is going to struggle." He's going to highlight the strengths. That's the key thing, is to instill confidence in the fan base that everything is okay. And of course, Brad Holmes is going to do that. He's a master at it. He's done it now for several years and has learned from Les Snead. He's not going to instill panic. Was he panicking when the team had all those injuries? No, he went out and tried to find help at other teams' practice squads. So Brad Holmes is not going to panic. And I think the biggest reason that fans should initially have trust in John Morton and Kelvin Shepard, but be cautiously optimistic, is that Dan Campbell picked them. Brad, of course, is going to sign off on it, but Dan Campbell made these decisions. Dan Campbell went out there and said early on, "Hey, Aaron, make sure Kelvin Shepard is groomed up and make sure he's ready for that position." That was a seamless transition. I would expect the defense to grow upon the concepts that Glenn first put in, and now Kelvin Shepard is going to tweak it. So it's going to be great, because you did start to see a little bit of mix and matching along the defensive front and being a little bit more creative. So that's, I think, what's going to be great, is that Kelvin Shepard is a former linebacker and Aaron Glenn was a defensive back. That's why you saw some of those exotic blitzes from the safeties. So you look at it and you say, all right, Dan Campbell, John Morton, they understand clearly the work that John Morton did with Sean Payton. Definitely, clearly an opportunity to learn more behind the scenes and things like that. So Morton's experience, I think the thing that you're going to want to pay attention to is, how does he set up plays? How does his play calling evolve? How does he set up defenses? So those are natural question marks. But again, like the doc said in previous interviews, when you have that level of talent, it's just a great opportunity for John Morton. Do you think he's going to really mess up Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, and a veteran quarterback? Now, there's going to be some wrinkles and some things that maybe will come up, like red zone efficiency and certain calls on 3rd and short, or how much the average depth of passes for Jared Goff early in the year. There's going to be some things that come up, but the talent level, John Morton should send Brad Holmes a Christmas card. This is the opportunity I get as an offensive coordinator to work with this. Thank you. Because with this level of talent, you might expect John Morton to start maybe hearing his name as the future head coach, based on the level of success that they could have. Now, he said to the media and right to our face, he doesn't really have, I don't think, those aspirations. He definitely wants to be the best offensive play caller that he can be. And I think that this situation, being that he's a hometown guy, gives him the best chance to succeed. So I never really had that national doubt that people would have from the outside, because you see the level of talent that this football team has. So I would not say that the reason for concern is not the change so much in coaches. Yeah, you lost Antoine Randall, you lost Tanner Engstrand, You lost a couple assistants as well that were here. But trust me, guys, Dan Campbell has his finger on the pulse of exactly who to bring in. You guys are hearing it. Chassard Choice is the real deal. He's going to get a lot out of these running backs. Scotty Montgomery, a future NFL potential head coach or coordinator, is going to really take advantage of the chance to work with the wide receivers. I think the coaching staff is great, is elite, and should give this fan base a lot of excitement.
And Doc, something that kind of goes perfectly into that. I don't know if it was last week that he talked about it. We saw it this week. Was Peter Schrager when he was on ESPN. He talked about how important Jared Goff is for this Detroit Lions team and said that he's the most important player in the NFC in general, just because all the factors going around. Do you agree with that statement? If not, who would you put above Jared Goff?
Yeah, no doubt. It's a great question. Listen, I think no better analyst around than Peter Schrager has got his pulse. To quickly answer Matt's question in the chat, Tanner's the offensive coordinator of the Jets, and that might be a talking point if the offense stumbles. Oh, should you have kept the understudy of Ben Johnson? But he got an opportunity right away to be the OC for Aaron Glenn. So Aaron stole from the Detroit Lions, but a great opportunity for Engstrand. I'm curious to see how he does with that offense. So I look at it and I say, Jared Goff, the great old debate about the quarterbacks, right? And I look at it and I say, very important, one of the most key figures in the National Football League in terms of, hey, you got to captain the ship. You've taken on the task. You've said you want more responsibility. You want to be able to have opportunities to check into other calls if you see fit, have the opportunity even maybe to walk up to the line of scrimmage with 3-4 plays that you like. And I do think that Jared Goff is amongst the top important players in the NFC. You look at it, though, I don't think that he's probably, the most important. I think if Saquon Barkley goes down for the Eagles, they might be done. That was a team that was driven by that running game that opened things up for the passing game. Brown and, the wide receivers there are solid, but Saquon Barkley was a league MVP, and he's just one of those dudes that just can light things up. So he's in that conversation. Brock Purdy is also important for the 49ers. If he goes down, I think that thing collapses to be like a 3-win team. So, I don't want to see I don't want to see Jared Goff go down to see how valuable he is. I don't trust the backups right now on the roster. I think Jared Goff is very valuable, among the top 3-4 most valuable. And you can make the argument, the most important player on the Detroit Lions roster. If he has a good season, guys, you can legitimately talk about 11, 12, 13 wins and legitimately Super Bowl, because he can, distribute the football well. Scans defense is great. I think he's a great leader. And what's something that's underrated too, when he turned the ball over, that there were times he made bad plays, bad throws, bad games, but he always came back and would lead the team on a drive. And you never really felt like the team was really out of it last year. And when you have all those defensive injuries, that's a lot of pressure on your offense. And Jared Goff and that offense lived up to the billing. So you get credit for 15 wins. Now, you also got to take the blame when you have your worst game of the year against the Commanders when they needed you to step up. But that offensive line, it was a complete collapse offensively in early on that just took the Lions out of rhythm and gave the Commanders so much momentum that they felt like they could roll in and play at a high level. So Jared Goff's important, and that's why you pay the guy north of $45 million a year, and you make him at the time one of the top 5 quarterbacks. And when you pay the guy that much, to whom much is given, much is expected, and I expect a lot from Jared Goff.
John, you wrote an article about a player that I got some flack for, talking about pressure, or, a player that I think will be under a lot of pressure, and that is Terron Arnold. Can you kind of share your thoughts on that? Just kind of the microscope he's under, because there's many people that would push back on that take of mine and say, well, Jeff, he's cornerback 2. My thing is he's a first-round pick, and he plays a position where, we would give him grace for 1 year. Or usually cornerback's the hardest position besides quarterback to play, so you're willing to give the guy another year. But I think in this year, if he's struggling, then we have to have a serious conversation. Am I crazy for that? And where do you land on that?
Yeah, you really can make that argument for any player in the National Football League. You're only one bad season away from the team looking to draft your replacement. So I do understand that, national analysts and people that write stories, when they talk about who could potentially be a bust, they include Terron Arnold. But I don't think he's going to be a bust. I don't think it's too soon. The cornerback position in the National Football League takes 2 or 3 years to develop. You got to see so many things. And yeah, they got to correct all those pass interference calls, but he did steadily get better. Like, he was thrown into the fire playing the most press man coverage of any rookie. And so that experience is invaluable. Working with Aaron Glenn is invaluable. So the pressure's on, because it's a money position. You were a first-round pick, and that's what players should want. Terrion Arnold should want to go in and say, hey, no, don't let him meet guard Justin Jefferson. I want him. I want to be able to be the guy that helps our team win. So Terrion doesn't shy away from that. He doesn't shy away from the scrutiny that comes with that position. Look, me personally, I always tell friends don't let friends play that position. You should play wide receiver. You get all the credit. You get to dance in the end zone. Cornerbacks, you get 3 pass breakups and you give up 1 40-yard bomb, you're a bust. And so it's just a position that's skewed so heavily that the term, we get spoiled. Go back and watch Revis Island. Go back and watch Dion. There's so few of them that are available to do that. There's so few guys that are true lockdown corners, but it doesn't mean you don't go and strive for that. But it's so tough nowadays when the league is making it so that you can't breathe on these receivers. But for Terrion Arnold working against J-Mo Amon-Ra, you think there's a cornerback ready, more prepared to play the position than Terrion Arnold? I mean, he goes up against the top dogs, and now he's going to get a chance to go up against Tim Patrick, Tesla, Khalif Raymond, and mix and match and compete. That guy's going to develop. He's got that grit mentality. I just think that, he's going to be under the microscope. He'll handle it well. But yeah, if he doesn't, then, you're going to look to potentially, and maybe having DJ Reed will be that nice, having a young player with a veteran is always good to bounce ideas off of, to learn from, and to have a group. That's a good cornerback room with Amik Robertson and the guys in that room. So I expect Terrion to ball out this year, and he'll be in the conversation for having a bounce back year. No doubt about it. I think that him and DJ Reed will get the good Doc karma and get their first interceptions in a while.
And I love to hear that, Doc. That pumps me up. I want to ask you the other side of the ball. We've talked to you a couple months or a couple weeks ago about this player. I want to kind of get your thoughts process again, a little update. The last time you saw him out at camp, because I think you actually put a report out there. So I want not a report, but you kind of observed what you saw. Hendon Hooker, though, as the backup quarterback. This whole battle with Hendon Hooker, can you tell us your thoughts on this, what you saw when you were out there at the mini camp, and expectations going into this year? Do you see this being a situation to where Hendon Hooker is a potential candidate to be let go from this team going into this offseason?
Yeah, I did an opinion piece as well at Detroit Lions on SI. And my opinion was, I wouldn't be surprised if they, similar to 2022, when I watched the whole training camp and Brad Holmes whacked both backup quarterbacks, Tim Boyle and David Blau, gone. And they went with Sudfeld and brought in others to try and take that job. So, look, Hendon Hooker, you'll read it everywhere. So I always look to read to make sure I'm not overly critical, because I have high standards. I think these players are the best of the best. So I want to see something. So, like I said in previous interviews here, this is what I saw. Last year, and the year before, I saw a quarterback that held on to the ball too long, tentative, not accurate, and somebody that didn't look like he was ready to be there. So we go to OTAs, and I see a quarterback that's tentative, holding on to the ball too long, not connecting with the receivers. Didn't look like anything different. Now, it's early, but all I can do is surmise what I saw. So I shared just like everybody else. So you can't call me a hater, because everybody said the same thing. It was not to the standard of anything that would impress anybody that's watching it. And Kyle Allen, the same thing. Ahmed Hassani would have took his head off, and they were getting the Kelvin Shepard did not call off the dogs. He was sending the guys, and he was trying to confuse those backup quarterbacks, and they didn't look great. They looked out of sorts. It looked like a rough practice. So my expectation is I need to see some progression. I need to see what you would expect from a backup. Get your targets, let go of the football, scan the field, get in and out of plays, what Dan Campbell talks about all the time. Look like somebody that, hey, if you're given an opportunity to just stabilize the ship. What I saw looked like he went in and poked 5-6 more holes in the ship and sunk the boat, is what I saw. But that's just one practice. It's OTAs. He's not working with the best of the best, and it's early. But that's all I can report on. And so my opinion was, look, you got guys out there in an NFL world, not for long. And a guy like me, who's not particularly like super loyal to any player. If I'm just like a GM, I told you guys, I view it like a GM. Flacco's out there. He could get cut. You get guys out there that's a veteran. If you get a guy out there that's cut, that's a little bit better, I would pass on Will Levis. I don't think that's a trade you ever make. You're not going to trade for Shedeur Sanders. He will never be available. But if Flacco and other quarterbacks become available, I would take a look. If Hendon Hooker,
get him.
He's got to showcase something. He's got to go out there and show us something. And I hope this preseason, July 31st, is a great chance. Go up there against a talented Chargers team and get out there and handle business. Show something that a lot of reporters can see. And hopefully that he'll shut everybody up and start to look like a backup quarterback. Show some progression.
Well, Doc, we got a lot of we talked about him actually in a video yesterday, and the amount of comments on that video calling us idiots for that take. Like, and even me, who's been very supportive, but then we kind of
what's their answer? They have no facts other than I love to support Hendon Hooker. Listen, guys, listen. That's a good take then, because if people are pushing back, I get their support. Well, he's a backup and he's going to hold the clipboard, but you got to still, when you're out there and you got a job to do, again, remember, I know it's not an indication, but it's an indication. The team had you train all year last year. And when the coach said, man, we're going into the playoffs, what do? Do we go to Hendon? No. Do we go to a guy that's sitting on the bench there and coaching? Yeah, I like that much better. What does that tell you? That's a clear proof. What do you mean? Oh, that was always in the plan. Yeah, if that's always in the plan and I'm Hendon Hooker, I'm pissed off. Like, I walk in there and go, what do you mean? I'm not ready? No, you're not ready. That's why we're going to Teddy. We like him more than you. I would be offended. I'd be pissed. And I would have came back this year. And every time that I had a chance to show something, I'm going to show that Teddy Bridgewater's name will never be brought up again in my presence. So he's got a lot of work to do. I think he'll get to that point. And it's not to say he's a bust, but guys, it's not just me saying it. Everybody saw it. They said they were underwhelmed. They weren't thrilled with what they saw. They saw the exact same thing that they saw last year. And so in the NFL, you gotta take strides forward. You gotta show something. Otherwise, don't be surprised if Brad Holmes, because he's done it once, if you go through camp and you're not that great, he will cut you.
And Doc, you bring it up. You're not loyal to players. You think like a GM. If Aleem McNeil goes out there this year, after he's back to 100%, I'm saying, because obviously he's going to come back, need to get some rehabilitation during the games as far as like getting back to game speed. And he does not look like a top 10 defensive tackle. When do you start to be like kind of planting the red flags of this might have been a big mistake re-signing Aleem McNeil at the time that they did?
Yeah, look, you got to remember too that Brad Holmes definitely look. You got to look at the value of what he brought to the table prior to the injury. I thought that he was not going to be a guy that's going to record a lot of sacks, but I thought that he held it down in terms of the run game. And Brad Holmes said it. He said, "I value the interior of the defensive line quite a bit." So those 3 techs and the guys, the nose tackle, the defensive tackle, those guys are pretty key. And those guys that man along the defensive ends are very key for Brad Holmes. It's a focal point. And so, look, this year's a wash. He hurt himself. So, unfortunately, the contract's been paid. You got to do what you got to do with it. You hope that next year you get the full force along with the Tyleik Williams and the young guys there that are developing. So I think Aleem McNeil's a good player, solid role player. I thought he brought a physical presence that was definitely warranted. And I don't think it was, all that terrible to reward Aleem McNeil for the work that he did in that defensive line. And I think that he'll start to showcase, look, if his attitude and his grit mentality, he'll come back strong. He'll be serviceable this year, but you'll look to come back next year. And to the point about me snapping, I'm reacting to those that, look, you 3 are guys that are reading everything and sharing true knowledge. When people push back, it's just being true fans, which are, hey, we support the players and we'll give them unlimited leeway. I mean, some people on air this week were like, when we're debating Stafford and Goff, Stafford has a ring and Goff doesn't. People are like, no, Jared Goff's my guy. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, you're comparing Goff to the terrible other quarterbacks that you saw, and he got 2 playoff wins, so you anoint him. But to me, he's still in the category that Stafford was, 0 rings. So it's all about your perspective, fans. I know they want the players to like them. But in the end, I tell you directly, I view it like a GM. If I smell anything better, I'm out. I want someone better, period. I want the best 53 guys, period. And if you got to cut people, you got to let them go. That's the nature of the business. And that's Brad Holmes' job, is to find the best players. And it's cutthroat. It stinks. It's the business part. But I respect the players that go out there. But if I think that there's a better quarterback out there, I'm on it just like that. That's what I want. I want the best players. And here today, gone tomorrow. That's the National Football League. And that's how I've always viewed it is, what do you do for the team? How do you help? Great. If you can't help anymore and there's someone better, bring them here. And that's why the fans are so great. And that's why this fan base is the best, is because they think that there's a better player out there than Marcus Davenport. This team's got to go out there and prove that we're all wrong.
Doc, you put out an article, but it was I got to give credit to Easy and spending that Allen Robinson on, and he was a great guest. I've been trying to get him. He's hard to contact. I got to hit up Easy on to contact this man, but he spoke about the Super Bowl run, or the loss that many expected to be a Super Bowl run. Obviously, the injuries impacted that a lot. What did you think of his take? Because I saw that Commanders Twitter shared it, and they ate it up, and they, Lions fans, Commanders fans are arguing about what would have happened, hypotheticals. Where do you stand on that hypothetical scenario? Do you think it was a matter of injuries, or do you think there was maybe other things? Because people were quick to bring up the Jared Goff performance as well. Factoring into that.
Yeah, no, it's a great debate. What would have happened? And Allen Robinson set the wick on fire, and it was like, we would have won it. Of course he would think that. I think the Eagles game would have been legendary. It would have been great. Down to the wire, hard fought. You would have seen Saquon do some things. You would have seen the Lions do some things, punching a puncher's chance. Had they been healthy, and probably you give the edge to the Lions if they were fully healthy, but that's the way football goes. And yeah, it was good to hear Allen admit that, hey, injuries definitely caught up to us. And, the Commanders took the momentum quickly in that game, and they found a way to get after Jared Goff, and they took advantage of the weaknesses. And guess what? Dan Quinn's a legend. Like, I love Dan Quinn. I think that he's a superior defensive mind, and the offensive weapons with their offensive coordinator there was just spectacular. Took advantage of the skills that they had, and they were the better team on that day. And so I looked at it and I said, all right, this Lions team, that's why they're running it back again this year, is that they feel like the talent with Aiden Hutchinson coming back healthy, a couple tweaks, development of the guys on the roster should give them a chance. I still don't think that they're the best NFL team. I still think that I've been saying it all week. I think the next step for Lions fandom is to taste a Super Bowl loss. And maybe this year, maybe next year. But I think that's the next evolution of what fans got to go through. We got to go through the full heartbreak. We got to go through the hype, all the features, everything, and then experience a loss. And then I think that'll make it so that when they win, it'll just taste that much sweeter after having a defeat. Listen, winning a Super Bowl would be great. I definitely would not be opposed to going right there and winning it right now this year and ending the suffering. But if you know on the other side that you're going to get a Super Bowl win, I'd rather have the loss, because that's just going to make it taste that much sweeter when it eventually happens. Because guess what? I've lived it. Man, did it hurt when San Jose would beat the Red Wings and Toronto would beat the Red Wings, and then they get to the finals and lost. You know how much that hurt to see them get destroyed by the New Jersey Devils? That hurt. That hurt deeply. And to see all our guys devastated. And then when Steve Eisman finally got to raise the cup on the day I graduated high school at a graduation party, it was great. Gratiot Avenue in East Point was lit up from 8 Mile to 17 Mile. It was great. It was an all-night party. And I feel like the joy that we felt was because of all the years of heartache that the Wings gave us, having to go through that struggle. So I like the struggle bus just a little bit, but this football team is built pretty well. But there are certain holes at certain spots, and now you got to count on some young guys at the guard position. That's always going to be key. So we'll see. But for the Commanders fans, let them chirp a little bit. They got the win, and then they beat us. They whipped our ass in the UFL championship game. Shut up, all the UFL fans. All 14 of you had to watch. I'll be honest. I watched maybe 14 whole minutes in the whole season. That's just not my brand of football to watch. But hey, when you get to the championship game, you don't lay a defensive egg. And Commanders right now, DC holds a little bit over us.
Doug, I want to throw this out there because the Lions did release the training camp dates for the public just the other day. It made me start thinking, and we actually had this conversation, Klotz and I, we did the show last week, and we talked about players potentially on the cut line. Who are a couple guys, and I had brought up, and I think we actually talked about this a while back with you. It might have been a little earlier on going into minicamp. Is there any surprise, like outside of like maybe the known players that we know are on that line? Is there any surprise players that you could see getting cut here for the 53-man roster?
you know, guys we've talked about, maybe Khalif Raymond, veterans, guys that, are competing. You look at it and you say, okay, along the offensive line, Colby Sorsdahl, Keoti Awosika, Dan Skipper might be a fan favorite, but his job, status is always going to be up in question. He's always kind of along that cut line, even though he's definitely more popular. He's a guy that he's just got to battle. You always look at the linebackers. You look at Trevor Nowaski. We're doing a series on the bubble players. I'm having Christian Vito.
Trevor will not be cut.
Trevor will not be cut. Yeah, he's a good player. I like his special teams value. But linebacker position, you realize there's good competition there along the way. And when Malcolm Rodriguez comes back, you realize Cunningham's there. Hopefully Anceloni's there. It'll provide some competition at that spot. And you also got to look at the young guy there that they brought in last year. I felt like Ezekiel Turner was a guy that I thought could have a chance based on their special teams play. So it's going to be always interesting to see the competition levels. Everyone loves seeing Tom Kennedy out there and competing. I wonder one year if he surprises and actually makes the team. I'm looking forward to the one guy though that I think that the two guys that their spot's not as guaranteed as many people think is Dan Jackson and Lovett. There's a lot of competition at safety, and there's basically one spot for Dan Jackson. I think he'll have the edge going into camp, but he's got to earn his spot. And Lovett, that room is full. This might be the year that, typically the Lions carry the guys that they draft. This might be the year they turn that around, and maybe a couple guys that got drafted don't make the team.
And Doc, when you're looking at this, kind of going with the safety room, if you had to pick that guy that's going to be behind Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, and maybe I don't even talk about like during week 1, when it really matters, like playoff time. We saw a situation where, Maurice Norris had to be out there in an emergency situation against the Commanders. Who do you think will pick up that role? Because you did bring up Ezekiel Turner, and then not Ezekiel Turner, Lawrence Strickland. You brought up Dan Jackson, guys like that. But you even see guys that they're bringing out. Can't remember the name out of, I believe it was Grand Valley State. You see that they're adding depth, even Avonte Maddox. Who's going to be that third guy, if you had to guess, come season end?
Yeah, come season, it's going to be Avonte Maddox. I think his veteran presence, he showed out a little bit. I thought he acclimated well, looked comfortable. The player you're talking about is Kennelly. I think he's going to have a chance for a strong training camp. But yeah, the coaching staff wants him to battle it out. And that safety spot is open for that one spot to take. And I think it's Branch, Kirby Joseph, Avonte Maddox, and you get another guy there for depth. And it'll be interesting to see who wins it. Probably Dan Jackson has the leg up in regards to opportunities and the competitiveness. But again, here's the key. And this year might be the year, because typically, in training camps, you guys know there's offensive periods, and then there's defensive periods, and then there's break time, as I call it, or as others that are hardcore. There's the special teams period. I don't watch it all that much. It doesn't interest me greatly other than the kicks. A lot of, beat writers, they just love everything. They love the special teams like great. Congratulations. Jack Fox is kicking the ball freshly in a new way. It does nothing to the, big time readership. You know what I mean? If you guys notice, in 7 years, I barely write about special teams. It's not missed. You know what I mean? I write about it in terms of some interesting things that Dave Phipp talks about, but maybe this year I will pay attention during those special teams drill, because in those intent practices, you're writing down basically everything. And so those little 12-minute breaks where they're just, kicking the ball and having a couple guys catch. It's always good to see, J-Mo's out there catching balls and all that kind of fun stuff. It's always intriguing. It's always a little bit of nugget, but it just doesn't keep my attention as opposed to offensive line drills, defensive line drills, competitive periods. So maybe this year, maybe the Lions will entice me to focus on special teams and write about it a little bit more with Jackson. But, for me, I enjoy it. It's like a 10-minute little break as Jack Fox. Listen, it's not hard to report. Jack Fox is great. He always looks great. And the guys that are receiving, they always do great. And we can't really divulge the complete list anyway, because that's a strategy. So it gives us an opportunity. And that drill is always so slow that it gives us a chance to kind of recap and insert in our head what we just wrote down. Because a lot of times it's just a bunch of scribbles, numbers and plays and formations and things that you want to start to organize for your reports.
Hey, Doc, we talk a lot about the defense. Obviously, we need this defense to be very good. And Kelvin, I think we can all pretty much agree. Most of us are confident in. I like Kelvin a lot. I think he's going to bring a different dynamic to this defense. But the thing that the Aaron Glenn defense kind of held its they took pride in, and you guys talked about this, you and Christian on the Lone Wolves podcast, is how aggressive they play defensively. Can you kind of talk about, and that was in the article, you talked about the areas of concerns. Can you kind of expand on that? Just how much you agree with Christian, and if you think Calvin may, and it's hard to say now, but just in your opinion, how much different this defense could look, or do you think Calvin will probably take a lot of what AG kind of did already, including that aggressive man-to-man type of defense?
Of course, there are opportunities to do some things differently, and you saw a little bit of it at OTAs where you bring a five-man front. You have the pressure coming from the Sam linebacker spot as opposed to maybe the defensive backs. So the linebacker spots can be definitely more key in this defense. I do think there'll be more matchup-based situations and maybe trying a little bit more avenues of success. DJ Reed definitely can succeed at man, but also had some success at zone as well. So I expect a lot more flexibility and matchup based, but the Lions typically, when you look at it, they tend to really play to their strengths, which is really, they want to be run stuffers. They want to get after the quarterback. And what was the staple of that defense is it was really, truly, if you guys really watched that team last year, it truly was a bend, don't break. They would allow some certain yards at certain points, but once that team started to sniff the red zone around that 30, that defense clamped down. And they kept teams out of the end zone. And it was awesome to see. I think they can get better at forcing more turnovers. I think they can get better at actually getting home and sacking the quarterback. There are numbers that they can definitely get better at in terms of, hey, they saw a big dip in giving up chunk yards running when Alex Anzalone wasn't there. The defensive intensity was not there. So I do think that Kelvin Shepherd is going to have room to grow. And that's why you saw. I do think that Tyleik Williams will be a nice addition. Mekhi Wingo, you need to develop. I want to see how Ennis Rakestraw and Tyrion Arnold develop with Deshae Townsend and working again with Amik Robertson. So there's a lot of room for growth in this defense. And then if those linebackers come through and are sure tacklers, and you get Brian Branch to kind of ease up on some of those loose defensive penalties and those unsportsmanlike calls, you got the makings of a defense that can be top 5. No, I would not be surprised in any capacity if this defense comes out and is very stout and very aggressive and is able to have success. If this can be a top 10, top 5 defense if everything stays right. And you got to remember, Aiden's back. So let's go. Let's push the 15 sack Aiden Hutchinson. Let's get him up there and let him dominate, let him cook, and let's see what happens.
I want to turn a little bit here, Doc. I want to hit a little baseball here while we have you. Can I get your thoughts? We talked to you last week, just briefly about the Detroit Tigers. Over the last couple of days, there have been a lot of conversations, obviously with the Jackson Jobe injury, and then all of a sudden the Red Sox trade Rafael Devers, and now everyone's saying Alex Bregman's back in play. How are you feeling about this team currently? What move here do you think this Tigers team needs to make? Is it going after an Alex Bregman, even though you weren't able to sign him in the offseason, and kind of just take that L and say, hey, we'll just trade for him and get him for a World Series run? Where do you stand on all of this so far with this Detroit Tigers team?
Yeah, it's unfortunate for the Jackson Jobe situation. That was unfortunate. You realize he's the 3rd overall pick. And let me just give you guys a lesson in when it ties together from your previous point. Everybody that saw the number 3 pick, Jackson Jobe, oh my God, this is amazing. This is great. We love it. At Detroit podcast and the Doc and Jock podcast was like, oh, that's a high school player. That's a guy that potentially could have arm troubles. That's a risk. Good player, has a good ceiling, but we were all like, no, we like Marcelo Mayer. We like the idea of getting a shortstop for this team. And we got you're haters. You guys are this, you guys are that. And we're like, guys, come on. Like, you don't think that there's risk here with Jackson Jobe? He's a high school player. It's a risk. It's something that you're taking a situation in which you have a team that's still developing and needing some work. Risky guys is like, I get that it was, you started to see early signs of it, but we were early on saying that's a risk. That's something that you got to keep an eye on. And unfortunately now Tommy John surgery, and people were all like, oh my goodness. You got, listen, you give your opinions and you stand by it. You could be right. You could be wrong. If you're batting 1,000, then you ain't saying anything. And if the whole world loves you, then you're just a slappy. And that's the easiest thing to do. The easiest thing for me to do would just be to love listen, I probably would be even more successful than I am if I was just the ultimate slappy, like just get on there and just be like, everything the Tigers do is great. Everything the Lions do is great. I love Trajan Langdon. And no, I say that there are things that could be done differently. And you take a lot of flack for it. Like yesterday, I'm kidding around. Like, you really think that the Tigers are going to trade Baez for Bregman and Aroldis Chapman? Like, in the legitimate world, do you think my brain thinks that? No, the idea is we're hyping up Baez to the point that we can have a conversation that he's gotten better to the point that he's a plus WAR player. So this is great. This is great things happening for the Detroit Lions and the Tigers. But, so people are like, oh, you're stupid. Yeah, okay. Do you really think that Doc believes that Baez is going to get traded? No. The debate was, would you? Would you do it? It's interesting to think about. And so I never shy away from ever. If I think it, I tweet it. And if you think it's dumb, you can tell me I have 4 listeners or whatever you want to tell me. It's fine, because I got thick skin and I've taken a lot of beatings, from the Stafford contract to Jackson Jobe to Killian Hayes. I've taken my share of lumps from standing up for myself. So I'm not afraid to speak my mind. And that's what makes the job fun, is to give your opinion. But if you're a universal supporter, that's no fun at all. That's just, I just go apply for the Lions job and be like, hey, I want to promote your team 24 hours a day and spin everything so that everything looks great. The Tigers, I loved sitting there. It was great. I was like, holy smokes, they came to perform. They showed out on the Javi Baez day, didn't they? And they put a hurting on Donnie Kelly Baby's team. And I look forward to tomorrow. I'll share with you guys what I'm doing tomorrow. Tomorrow's baseball day for me, and I'm going to enjoy it in style. And it's going to be a fun time with my nephew. But I want to tell you a quick story real fast. So yesterday I walk in. So when I get a badge, I have to go pick it up from security. And so I don't have a season pass. I go series by series. I do like 2 series a month, maybe, if that, or a couple games. So I walk in, I'm always smiling, got a pep in my step. And the security's older lady. I give her my bag and she's like, what are you here for? I said, I'm walking, and I got a big smile on my face, and I point to the security guy. I go, I'm going right to him. I got a big smile on my face. He looks at me and deadpan, no emotion. I'm like, okay. And so I'm talking about, this was kind of, the security was not feeling the vibe of the Doc's energy when I walked in there. So I came in there full energy. I'm like, I'm here to pick up a 3-day pass to watch the Tigers. And they're all looking at me like, what? Like, I came in there full of energy, and I walked over to the security guard. He's like this. What's your name? And I'm like, okay. And I got it. He's working probably the long tail end of a 10-hour shift. And I'm just super excited to be there. I'm like, I'm here to watch, I got a 3-day pass to watch the Tigers. And then he gives me the pass, but he didn't punch the hole. I said, one more thing. Can you kind of punch the hole so I can actually wear it? And he's like, punches it, like basically scratches it in half. So he was not feeling the vibe of the Doc as I'm asking him for help and all that kind of stuff. It was fine. It was cordial, but I came in there like all happy. I come in sometimes with a lot of happy energy because I'm thankful they let me in there. But the security guard was not vibing with the Doc's energy. But I'll pick you up next time. I'll be like, hey, you got to be nice to the Doc. I said, going up here, right? And I always have that good energy when I go to a place, because I'm always thankful that they let me in there. As a guy that covers the Lions and has an internet podcast. They've been so gracious to give me time to let me watch the Tigers and speak on them. Honestly, it's a good baseball team, guys. It's a great team. Listen, I'll say this. Heaven help the team that comes to Comerica Park to try to win a game. The offense is going to be great. The fan base is hungry. You got one of the best pitchers in baseball. You got a pitching staff that's evolving. You got hitters that, man, the 3-run homers back at Comerica. Riley Green and Javi's playing well. And so if you shore up the defense a little bit, if you get the bullpen to kind of turn things around from their performance this month, guys, this is a team that can win some playoff rounds, but you need help. So then my next focus is who do you get to help this baseball team? You probably need 3 guys, a starting pitcher, another reliever, and another offensive bat, right-handed bat. You get that, maybe a third baseman. Maybe you go out and you bring back Eugenio Suarez, the mistake that you made before. You bring him back because he's a boomer bust kind of player, but he's toiling away, I think, in Arizona doing jack squat. You bring in some guys. Listen, this is the first time now where we can assess all 3. Trajan Langdon offseason, you got to show out. You got to muscle up. Brad Holmes, you got to muscle up at the deadline and get some guys to help your football team. And Scott Harris, you must muscle up. If you don't add talent, and I'm not talking about just trading away like some people would surmise, McGonagall's off the table. Clark's off the table. I'm talking about lower end prospects. Try to find guys maybe on rentals. You got to use your skills analytically to find guys, maybe names that we're not talking about, to get out here and help this baseball team. And I hope that that's in because, with Vierling, McKinstry, and the team that you got with Sweeney and Baez and the hitters there, Carpenter, this is a baseball team that can make some noise. And I think that, like I told you guys, and remember, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I will tell you, I did take my own advice. I was on vacation, go way back. I was in Orlando, enjoying life. Yep. And a certain show asked me, Doc, what do you think about the over at 83? I said, hammer the over. I said 7 units. So I bet like 12 units. So I'm going to cash in on the over you bet. I'm going to enjoy the fruits of my own labor. I don't just talk the talk. I walk the walk. I bet the over because of the reasons I shared on that podcast. Good pitching, one of the best managers in baseball. I love baseball. I love having a good baseball team, but now it's to that point where get this shit over the hump and get us closer because you're not at the Dodgers level just yet. They're struggling a little bit, but I do think that the competition with the Guardians and the Dodgers would be very fierce should they face. So I want to avoid that kind of situation. Let's play the Yankees and embarrass their fan base again.
Doc, I just want to throw this out there real quick.
Go ahead, Boone, yeah.
No, well, I think we're doing mailbags now. I just wanted to follow up with the Tigers thing. That's on me, Klotz. Hey, hand up on me.
I know. Hey, we'll let it slide. Go ahead.
All right. I appreciate that. I want to throw out there, Don. We had the conversation, and Honolulu Blues, they do a good job. They put out a tweet talking about who would you rather make a trade. I want to give you just a scenario, 2-team scenario. If you had to pick a team that is making a championship trade, or I guess not a championship trade, a trade in general, Pistons, Tigers, right now, it goes through tomorrow morning. What are you doing?
Oh,
use my question, Boone.
That is a great question. Who do I want? You're basically asking me what I like more. I'm a little bit more fond. Listen, I love all Detroit sports. I don't have any affiliation to any team outside of Detroit, but I'm more fond of the baseball team than the basketball team. Clearly, I love basketball. I love, I was at Michigan State when Mateen Cleaves won the national title. A memory I'll never forget. But in terms of just my satisfaction, look, I'm a purist. I saw the best of the best. I saw Michael Jordan in his prime. I was 8 years old watching the Pistons and Michael Jordan. I was like, holy cow. And we went toe-to-toe and beat him. I watched the golden age of the NBA. This is more athletic. This is great. So I am kind of the get off my lawn guy. But this is all just, hey, ISO, shoot the three, and good luck. It's a shooting contest. I think that the best form of basketball is the most well-coached. That's why the Pistons 2004 team was just purely amazing because Larry Brown said, I got talent here, and we can play basketball. Defend the rim, find the best shot possible, play smart basketball, and have the grit with Rasheed Wallace. It was amazing. But this basketball doesn't suit my liking. I don't like it. It's not enjoyable to just go, all right. And of course, the Pistons were part of that, where Dwayne Casey was supposed to be a three-point guru, but half his teams put up more bricks than, a construction site. So I got turned off. This is better. What Trajan Langdon did. He found shooters. Hey, what do you know? Shooters. But I have a more love of baseball. I think the pageantry of the game is amazing, and so I would take the Tigers trade any day of the week.
Klotzy, you want to go? Or you want to just get right to mailbag?
I was ironically going to ask Doc the same question.
Okay, let's
I
get
was
to
going to
mailbag.
add the lines into there as well.
So, Doc, we got some questions.
Sure.
For you. The people got some questions for you. We'll start off bottle line question. Who is the Doc's NFL MVP this year?
It's a great question. I think you look at it and a guy that's hungry, I would go with Allen. I think that he's a guy that knocking on the door, getting his life in order, getting married. I think him or probably Lamar Jackson have the best chance. I think Allen is a popular pick. I think he's a gunslinger, likable guy, does a lot of media, and I think he's a guy that has a chance to be the NFL MVP.
Oh, what about this one? Get your year one prediction for the Jets with AG and with Ben and the Bears.
Yeah, no doubt. I think probably in the same range, 6 to 8 wins for both. I see growth. I see the teams playing very well. I don't see playoff teams for either. I think that there's growing pains that need to be had. You got, have that year one growth. And remember, Dan Campbell had 3 wins. So it's a new regime, but I do think that they're starting off a little better. I think the Jets have a better chance. I like Justin Wilson, so that team could surprise people and get over the hump maybe to 7, 8 wins. But it takes time to build your culture, to build everything. Tanner Engstrand's a first-time offensive play caller. The Bears, probably 6 wins in that neighborhood. I think that that's going to take time. Ben Johnson's a perfectionist. It's not easy to just put everything together. and have it all work out. You have some young talent. So this year, kind of a growth year for both teams, but look out. Both teams, I think, will get up to double-digit wins sooner rather than later.
The next question, Detroit Sports Talk question for Doc, 1 to 10 confidence. How likely will the Tigers make a trade?
25. They have to.
Oh,
you alienate your fan base. How the hell are you going to not add to this baseball team? What more can they do? Scott Harris said publicly, when we're ready to win, the finances will be there. You have to make a deal. You have to find. You cannot. There's so much out there. There's so much action that trades are made in baseball so much easier than other sports. You can find guys that are on the last year of their deal, maybe take on a contract. Aroldis Chapman, you look at, you had a chance. Did anybody think that the Red Sox would make that move? That shocked everybody. All the internet guys were like, what is that? You know, in terms of getting out of a contract that they paid $300 million or so to some guy because he wasn't buying in. So you can make deals. So I hope it's a blockbuster, but I think they'll make some professional moves. And you got to erase a little bit of that Alex Cobb contract because that dude stole money from the Tigers.
Agreed. Next question, Rando. He says, at Doc, I have wanted Wingo to move to defensive end to use his quickness and upper body strength. Could you potentially see this happening?
A little undersized. I could see it at times at certain matchups, but I think that Hassanin's got the body type a little bit more athletic. Wingo, I think a little bit more inside as support could be a little bit more useful with his skills. But look, the guy's strong. He made an early good impression. You hope he stays healthy this year to kind of see, but I don't think he's a full-time. Remember, Marcus Davenport kind of embodies what they view as the true typical defensive end opposite of Aiden. So they want two guys that can basically bull rush. But I do think in certain packages, why not? Why not have him out there and do some things? But as a full-time guy, I think he ends up on the IR.
Let's see. MC3 Whodats his question. Do you think Johnny Moe will play favorites with any particular weapon?
Yeah, you should play favorites with number 14. That guy will make you look good. That guy will make you look special. Get him the ball. Good things tend to happen. I think the trio there will shine. J-Mo, Laporta, Amon-Ra. That's going to be a special trio to watch. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be special.
What about this one? I like the Doc Mailbag. What is your Detroit sports GM rankings right
Yeah,
now?
no doubt. Tease a little column we're going to do tomorrow. I assigned Vito. You guys have been spot on with what I'm thinking. We're going to debate which team's closer to a championship, the Lions or the Tigers. Vito will give his opinion and weigh in tomorrow morning. So look for it, Lions on SI. Similar topic. How do I view the rankings? Well, clearly, I would view Steve Yzerman as last. He should take notes from Florida and what they did and how they built. Hey, step one, find a goalie that can stop the puck consistently, that has some cachet, that has a little grit. Hey, have some talent on defense. Hey, physical play. Hey, fast pace through the neutral zone. Hey, what do you know? Consistency from your stars.
Hey.
Special teams. Hey, dominating when you can, making the Oilers wilt. I mean, there's so many lessons that Steve Yzerman can take. My goodness, I think that starting to showcase that he's not really the elite of the elite at his position yet. And hopefully, there's no guarantee that those young guys are going to deliver. So that's the fourth. Who's the best GM? It's Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes is the OG. He's the boss. He took a team that sucked for decades and got them to 3 wins, then 9 wins, then 12 wins, then 15 wins, according to some graphics that I follow on social media. So that's some good stuff. That's stuff that nobody thought. And he got an owner to give him and Dan Campbell a vote of confidence in the second year when all the heat from guys like Doc were like, hey, other teams are getting to the playoffs and winning. And Sheila's looked at us and said, I like who I got. And she looked us right in the face and said, I don't care about what other people are doing. Doc, I don't care. She's like, I don't know what the other guys are doing. I know I like what I got. And from that vote of confidence, this team took off. Would there have been a vote of confidence if there wasn't a reporter asking those questions? There you go. So GM Brad Holmes is number 1. Number 2 is, I think, Scott Harris because of his use of analytics. I think he's a mastermind of understanding how to get the most out of players. I think you give him credit for a lot of the picks that he's starting to put together here and utilizing the analytics to help this baseball team. And then number 3, but not that is like this, is Trajan Langdon. I think he's got a bright future and can quickly be number 2 with another good offseason. Some key moves. I want to see what he does with Beasley and how he maneuvers the stretch four and who he gets in here, because seeing Bane get traded to Orlando is a little bit surprising there, that some teams are being aggressive so early right away. And we'll see, because the Celtics could be selling, and you got competition from now the Magic, the Cavaliers, and the Knicks. So you got work to do. So get after it.
Derek says, Mailbag, where do we think our O-line ranks without Frank? And what does Goff have to do to prosper without Frank?
Yeah, I think it's a top 10 offensive line, maybe 10 to 10, 11. You know, you still got to see what those young guards bring to the table. But when you got Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker, that's a pretty good starting point. I think Graham Glasgow is a veteran. Listen, I have high hopes for Tate Ratledge. There's going to be a learning curve. Mahogany, I think, can be a special player, and he started to showcase some things. He'll be at his natural position. What does Goff got to do to prosper? Don't turn the ball over. Play clean football. Don't risk it. Be very selective in your deep shots. And really, in the end, in the face of pressure, like he did last year quite a bit, find the right answers and get it to Amon-Ra, and be willing a little bit more to be more than check down Charlie at times. Be willing to get your average length of pass into that 7 to 10 yard range at certain spots, and he'll be just fine. And then if things go south, then Goff needs to recognize that very quickly and start calling number 0 and number 5. 0-5, baby, 5-0. 0-5, 5-0. Give it to those two guys. You'll be finding yourself having a lot of success. Montgomery and Gibbs can definitely make you look very, 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 very smart.
I know you'll like this one, Doc. Ghetto Boy 1 question: how long does it take for MSU to make a bowl game or the playoffs under Jonathan Smith?
Yeah, no, I know he wanted to fire that off.
He'll be fired.
Yeah, listen. The payout goes down now because there's a new athletic director. There's some chaos at Michigan State. The buzz has been low for Michigan State because they had to find a guy to get some dollars in there. They're not competitive with NIL. They're getting there. It's inching along. I want to see the development of the quarterback. I like certain things about the team, but how long does it take for MSU to make a bowl game or the playoffs? They could probably get to a bowl game next year. The playoffs, guys, that's just I can't lie to you guys. I have no confidence that Jonathan Smith will lead this team to the playoff. It takes so much work. You got Ohio State that's just already probably, I get upset, so I don't look at the exact numbers, but they're already spending $30-40 million on their team. And now schools can pay the teams to play the players directly. So what does that mean? The rich get richer. In the end, it's just, you need a special quarterback. You need special talent. It takes time. I wasn't all that impressed with what I saw from Jonathan Smith. I thought the team kind of didn't. I mean, NIL, the transfer portal screwed the Michigan State Spartans. And it's just tough because I feel like the Spartans might be the breeding ground for some good programs. And you hope that turns around, but football team's got a long way to go. I think it's safe to say from the Doc's perspective, aren't we a basketball school? I think we're a basketball school.
Yeah.
I don't know. When was the last time you guys won a national championship? I just want to ask with that, just follow up. You said the transfer portal screwed you guys. How did that happen? Or did you guys screw yourselves in the transfer portal?
No, the transfer portal, because when John, what happened with Mel Tucker in the situation, then you get a new guy and they showcase everything that goes on, and boom, a lot of guys entered the transfer portal and they had to, scramble. There was a lot of departures in that transfer portal. I don't think you got as much as you would have thought out of it. So you got to play the game super smart. You got to get those talented guys to get you over the hump. And you're just in a tough spot because all it means is you got to spend. Like, you have to overspend maybe. Guys, you're hearing stories, and I don't know how deeply you read it about it. There are some SEC teams that pay kids $100,000 a week just to stay there and not transfer, with no intention of ever paying them or playing them. They just are there. They know these kids got leverage that, hey, if you don't pay me what I need, if you don't give me the bag, I'm going somewhere else. And there are guys that are never going to see the field that are making a crap ton of money because the SEC is so taking advantage of the NIL situation and paying these guys. The money's getting up there in regards to how these guys are getting treated and getting paid. So I just don't think Michigan State really fully understood what that's going to be about. And look, if Michigan State's got to go get their Connor Stallions and pay him, hell, why not? If Michigan did it, why not Michigan State? Let them go out there and see if Connor Stallions can pretend he's a supporter of Michigan, get back out there and relay some info to Michigan State. I was all for it. We talked about it 2 years ago. Michigan cheated, but yeah, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. But the one thing is that once you got caught, you can't bury your head in the sand, act like it never happened. That's here nor there. The championship's there. You celebrated it. You did what you had to do. And really, by all accounts, that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, that's the playbook. I think Jim Harbaugh was like, oh yeah, I think this is the Pete Carroll playbook I'm going to run here. And he figured it out pretty fast and ran it. And then he got out of Dodge pretty fast before his name was dragged through the mud. But I'll say this, and I'm coming from the Michigan State slanted standpoint, but your guy said it. Bo Schembechler said it. If you're the leader of the organization, you can't just be unaware of what's happening and blame everybody else. You had guys with computers doing weird things. You had supporters and boosters doing weird things that they weren't supposed to be doing. You've had suspensions galore. Harbaugh was suspended quite a bit. So his hands are not clean. But
come on.
His hands are not clean. They're dirty.
Who cares? He's got a national championship. That doesn't matter. You would have dirty hands for a national championship. Don't lie.
Yeah.
We know all of you guys would.
But I wouldn't have got caught.
A national championship.
I wouldn't have got
You
caught.
have dirty hands too over there, Mr. Investigator.
My hands are clean. What happened? Nothing. I wouldn't have
At
got
least,
caught.
yeah. Come on now, Doc. Come on. That's such a. If your guys if Michigan State's biggest win in the last 10 years is going at the Michigan Wolverines, that their hands are dirty, so be it. Hold on to that one and run with it.
Just look at the numbers over the last 15 years. Look at the record. I still believe. Lately, I still believe the last 15 years.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me ask you a question. One question. Can I ask you one question? One question, Doc. How many national championships in 15 years?
Oh,
Ohio State got 2 of them.
No. This is between Michigan State and Michigan. How many national championships? I don't care about total wins. How many times have you guys won the national championship?
Cheaters won. State
No. That's an excuse. We don't make excuses. We don't make excuses. Bottom line, there's no cheaters, nothing like that. No one's convicted, nothing. It is
not yet. It's gonna happen.
Not yet. They had the hearing last week, and it came out. Jerome Moore doesn't even have to do a suspension anymore. They said he doesn't have to do that. Come on now, Doc. Hey, at least basketball, you guys are getting good.
He's going to go to federal prison, Booner. He's not
No, he's not. No, nothing's happening. Hey, Michigan State, they can have their victory lap with their dirty hands all they want. We still have a national championship. They have a couple. They have more head coaches. 3 head coaches.
We have more scandals than college football playoff wins, right? But listen, at Michigan, when you have your fan base,
you guys do.
That's calling for the head of the football coach, and you guys wanted Jim Harbaugh fired. I wouldn't blame him for trying to cheat and to that level and ruin the reputation of the program. I wouldn't blame him.
They wanted Brady Hoke back, Doc. That's what they wanted.
Man, they just wanted anything. They just wanted to taste some relevancy because Ohio State and Alabama were kicking their tail in, so they figured out how to do it.
Oh, it's switched up from Michigan State.
Listen, no, Michigan State is far away. I said it directly. I'm not happy. I don't think it ever will happen. I said we're a basketball school. We play basketball.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You guys been to a Final Four in the last couple of years, huh?
Hey,
and you guys have a big time transfer this year, huh?
I got in trouble for a lot of state takes either. About 2 years ago.
How's the transfer portal this year for you guys?
I was like, man, I've said it a couple times. Like I try to say it quietly, but it gets out there. Like I think Tom Izzo, it's great coach, but I asked him directly, like, do you need a second title to kind of validate? I'm always of the opinion he's great, he's a legend, but I want to get to the next level too, and we'll see how. It sucks that Richardson had to test the NBA waters. I think we would have got there had that not been the case, but we'll see. But Michigan State's, perennially in the tournament, but they're kind of in that middling spot where Elite Eight, Sweet 16, they can't get over the hump. That sucks. You're right. But at least, we beat Michigan. We beat Michigan in basketball. It's all.
Yeah, and the regular season's sick, man.
Good start.
We got one last question, Doc. D-Ray, who's going to be the breakout player on defense this year?
Good question. Eyes? Breakout player, I can't say Terrion because I think he's going to be a good player when you're a first-round pick. I think it's going to be Ennis Rakestraw. I think that he's out there ready to showcase that last year was an aberration. He needed that sting of failure to get himself over the hump. I see some redeeming qualities in a guy that stands up for himself and says, yeah, it wasn't good. Hey, I'm taking receipts, all y'all that are talking trash about me. I'm going to look fly and get out there and do some things. I think Ennis Rakestraw will surprise some people. I like his grit.
Yeah, if Ennis can be good, man, Your quarterback room, Doc, looks a lot better. Definitely. You won't have any Kindle Vildor moments where you have to send out a guy that you think's a complete liability.
That's right.
We appreciate you, Doc. Good stuff today, as always.
I love you, Doc.
Go check out the Doc stuff, man. Detroit Lions on SI does great work. Listen to the Lone Wolves podcast as well. Him and Christian are crushing it. Doc, we will catch you next Wednesday. You are now on social media too, by the way. He's on X. He's on YouTube.
Yes.
Hey, Doc, next Wednesday, I know it's your show. Me and Jeff will be out at the Rocket Mortgage Classic Wednesday with you. Are you going to be on the show next Wednesday? I just want to see, because we will be probably leaving at a certain time to go do the show. Just want to see. I mean, no, I won't say that. I won't do it. No, I won't say it.
No, we'll see how it plays out, how the coverage is going to go. I have interviews lined up, but I think my coverage more starts in early in the week with the Pro-Ams, and then the tournament coverage Thursday through Sunday. So we'll figure it all out. We'll figure out how to get, if you need me to go out to Detroit Golf Club at 8:30 at night, I'll put on the headset and talk whatever I need to. But for tomorrow, I want to say this. Follow at Detroit Podcast. I will be at the doubleheader for Scooble and Skeens. It sucks that I can't watch them together. That would have been legendary, me and the nephew. We're going to be having a good time in some great seats, and I'll share.
Pumped up.
I'll tease it. Great seats for the game tomorrow. 2 different spots, but let's just say we're going to be eating and enjoying quite a bit of the all-you-can-eat portion of the tickets that we got.
Oh, this guy is behind the plate. How'd you get those, Doc?
Listen, man, I'm the luckiest guy with 2 followers in the whole wide world. And when there's an opportunity to, share special memories with your nephew, I definitely take advantage. So follow along at Detroit Podcast. I'll take pictures from my seats, game 1 and game 2. But I definitely will be eating and drinking and having a good time tomorrow. Baseball day for the Doc.
Wow. I need that connection, Doc. I wish I was like you.
There you go, Mr. John Maakaron joining the program.
And he's just gone. He's just gone.
He's just like he's a myth. That's what he is.
I didn't even think about next week. We are going to be at the Classic. Oh, I guess Klotz won't be there. So I was going to say we could on the course, like Wednesday, Doc's going to be at the course. We could just throw the headsets on. I mean, we could like remote.
That would be comedy.
Just on like the 18th hole, just Doc the headsets.
I want to do what we did last year. Just hang out with them. We just were with them all day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you were there for the one day. I was there with the Doc all week long. And every day that I was there with the Doc, when you were gone, Jeff, I mean, he's taken me into the media center, introducing me to people. He said he has some interviews lined up. I'm sure the Doc will help us get some interviews, and I'm sure the Doc will help us out a ton. I mean, he's one of the more experienced reporters in the city of Detroit, I would say.
Yeah.
At least that I've been around. So, yeah, I enjoyed covering them at Rocket Mortgage. Especially with the Doc.
He's the best. He's the best.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I could say it. I mean, no, I won't say it because I don't want to get him in trouble. Him getting me in the ropes last year was just such a thrilling moment where, trust me, Boone. Trust me. Hey, what are they gonna say to this guy? I run this city. It's the best, dude. It is the best. It's like there's sheriffs and police officers. It's like the final round of the Rocket Mortgage Classic. I'm like, Doc.
They're not going to say a thing to the Doc. And
I'm the Doc. He literally looked at me last year and said, in the final day, said, "I'm the Doc." All right, fair enough, man.
Game 5, Jalen Williams.
Hey, Ben Blue says, Mailbag, who wins in a battle? Beanbag
Broderick. I mean, Sorsdal is insane, dude. Sorsdal is so wild, man.
I would take Beanbag Broderick just off the fact that
he can move a quad.
He's a massive dude, and I've watched him move a quad. So
yeah. Oh wow, yeah, that does it. That.
Yeah, he also
stopped eating Jets pizza, and he can move a quad. That's a duo that no one else can get. Cut out the Jets pizza.
The big dude, man.
Yeah. Why Jets, Boone?
That was last year. The Doc. It was a report from the Doc that he said he lived right next to Jets Pizza, and all he did his rookie year was eat Jets Pizza. And he said going into last offseason, he cut it out, and he got into shape because he was moving ATVs and stopped eating Jets. He almost became an all-pro defensive tackle.
That's insane.
When we think about it, because we did fall for that hype. Maybe I did.
We did not. we
did not. We did not.
Now looking back at it, it's like off those reports. Like, why did I fall off the report or fall for the reports that was the man stopped eating Jets pizza?
Hey, Jets is good. Hey,
It's fire.
no free ads, but
He would be better if he was eating Jets. Go out there and perform at a high level.
yeah.
hey, AG's Burns. Remember when Nate Burleson crashed his car from eating pizza and driving? I mean,
I've definitely eaten pizza and drive.
I was gonna say I've eaten some like full like meals while driving.
Yeah.
It's probably not the smartest thing, but if I'm in a hurry and I gotta go and I got
Subs.
food, so I've brought a plate. You know what I did the other day? I brought a plate in the car.
That's crazy work, actually. That's tough, dude.
Because
the whole plate could go down, and that's a disaster.
It was,
At least with pizza, it's just a slice. Like I used to go to Brooklyn Pizza. Yeah, I used to go to Brooklyn Pizza all the time when we were at Woodward, and I would go there and I would grab a slice or two and drive home because I had like an hour drive, and I would just eat the slices on the way.
Yeah, well, Brooklyn is elite.
Oh, it's the best pizza. If you haven't had Brooklyn Pizza in Birmingham, no free ads again. But...
Well, that's a whole nother thing.
He's talking about you, jackass.
No, he's talking about Nate.
Oh, I thought he was talking about you.
Oh, he called you a name too. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean the disrespect.
Hey,
Accountability should be held. That's on me. Too far. Too far. I retract my statement.
I know. I haven't heard jackass in a while.
He said that with like authority too, man.
Bottom line, who will be the worst team in the league this year?
Browns or Saints?
I'll go Saints.
Yeah, Saints is more believable. I feel bad, Kellen Moore, man. I think he could be a great head coach in the NFL.
Can I throw a wild card out there? The Miami Dolphins.
No, I think they have playmakers. They're going to win a couple.
Tua's not making another season. They got nothing.
I agree with that, but
if Tua goes down, I think their whole roster would have to go down, and then I could probably make that argument. But if they have if Tua just goes down, I can see them winning 5 games.
If Tua goes down, they still win games. They'll probably get
when we're talking
6
worse,
8.
You're talking about like a team that gets like 2-3 wins.
Yeah, I would still go Saints. They got Zach Wilson. Zach can come in and win a game or two. With Tyreek.
Flacco can't.
With Tyreek.
You see that
Spencer Rattler can't with Chris
I know Tyler Shuck ain't gonna, so I'll go with
okay.
Yeah, Boone, I can't believe you said the Saints. You're a Tyler Shuck believer.
Yeah, I have to see it first. I'm a big Tyler Shuck fan, but I was the first on the case there.
Shitter's gonna be good. Shitter's gonna be good.
I said the Saints.
No, you said Bears, Browns, and Saints.
No,
you didn't say the Titans. I didn't hear you say the Titans.
Well, the Titans have more. I mean, they're in a better position.
Are they?
Yeah.
Why?
Shut up, bro. I like Cam Ward.
Give me the Tennessee Titans star offensive player.
Well, let's start.
Ridley.
Let's start with what they got. Right, they signed L'Jarius Sneed last season. They got a really good corner. They kind of been
Browns got Denzel Ward already there.
Yeah, they've been building up their O-line.
I mean, this is a ridiculous
Ridley
argument.
They got Tony Pollard. And I think Cam Ward is I think they'll get 6-7 wins.
That's fair.
So it's not like a crazy drop off. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think they're. I'll tell you this though, Shadur will be starting.
I'm scrolling through TikTok yesterday, and it just pops up on my screen. Xavier Restrepo is the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL. And just Lukas Klotz pops up on my screen saying he's the most underrated wide receiver in all of the NFL.
No, I said he will continue to be slept on. Just hyped him up.
Xavier Restrepo.
I was like, okay, man.
No, that video, Klotzy cooked on that one too, man. That was a good one. I watched the whole thing, Klotz, and I honestly don't
watch it age. Watch it age. That video in 10 years will have 1.1 million views, and it'll be clipped up and say, how did this kid know? How did he know?
I mean, it's not that crazy though. Xavier Restrepo, he was great in college.
Undrafted. Turned all pro. How did he know? That's what the YouTube videos will say.
So he's just Austin Eckler. Okay.
Austin Eckler didn't sniff an all pro.
Close to it.
I don't even think he ran for 1,000 yards ever in his career.
Okay, let's fact check that.
Okay. All right.
I would love to fact check. that.
No, hold on. I'm
Check
fact
down
checking.
Merchant. Check down
I'm
Merchant.
fact checking. Second team All Pro in 2024. Sit
Well,
down,
as
Lukas
a
Klotz.
returner?
You don't know what you're talking about. As a running back in
In 2024?
Oh wait, maybe not. I don't know. Hold on.
Like, there's no way. He wasn't even like in his prime in 2024. I feel
This
like
guy had 13 touchdowns.
Hey,
Yeah, why was he second team All Pro? What was that about? Second team All Pro 2024. Hold on a sec. Let's figure this out.
What did he do in 20? Did he like peak in 2024? And I'm crazy again.
I
That
mean,
was like
no,
2
he only
years
had,
ago,
like-
wasn't it? Like I feel like prime Austin.
No, that's this year. That's 2024 is this year. Why does it say he's second team? Oh, kick returner. Second team.
All right, we'll get out of here, man.
All pro. You said he wasn't all pro. That man, you said he's not sniffing all pro. Oh, he sniffed it all right.
As a running back, Boone.
It's on his Wikipedia page.
Hey, we'll be back
Second team
tomorrow.
all pro.
Thursday, top 10 Thursday. We will be back. Appreciate you all.
Top 10 offenses in the NFL.
Until
Or
tomorrow.
top 5. Top
Okay.
5.
No, top 10. We do.
Love
top
you
10.
guys.
Top 10, Boone.
Shout
Top
out
10.
to Doc.